Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha Collector, get the Whirlpool Sage Body at the beginning. Chapter 1. Qianzan felt like he had had a long dream. In the dream, he was an ordinary university graduate plus social worker who lived for more than 30 years. One day, he died suddenly at work. Konoha 29 years. It is detected that the host awakens Suwei, the system is fully charged, and the Great Collector system is activated. Host is welcome to use the Great Collector system. Qianzan, who was about to wake up from his sleep, suddenly heard the mechanical voice in his mind and was stunned. Originally, at this time, he was a little confused by everything in the dream. Because the memory in the dream was so real, it was almost like experiencing it in person. But when he heard the voice in his head, he suddenly understood everything. System. Did I travel through time? After a while, Qianzan, who had regained consciousness, rubbed his swollen eyebrows while digesting another memory that emerged in his mind. It has been 5 years since he traveled through this world, and he is exactly 5 years old today. Only then did he awaken his memory and obtain the system at the same time. I traveled through the Hokage world. Is this unfortunate? Fortunately, I am safe. Fortunately, it is only Konoha's 29th year. There is still enough time to grow. But be careful in the next 2 ninja wars. You have to endure and become stronger first. After Qianzan understood his situation, his mind began to work rapidly. Start planning for your future. At this time, he also knew the functions of this big collector system through the information transmitted by the system. You can get rewards by collecting anything that the system determines has collectible value. Qianzan needs to explore the standards for good and bad rewards by himself. Then give it a try. Thinking of this, Qianzan immediately stood up and started trying. He used everything inside and outside the house. All kinds of furniture, sundries, even flowers, trees, etc. were tried one by one. But the system didn't respond. Sure enough, ordinary things won't work, right? Qianzan scratched his head helplessly. Then we can only try those. With this in mind, he walked into the bedroom, rummaged through the cabinets, found a small box, and opened it. 6 ninjutsu scrolls were revealed. System. Collection. Congratulations to host for obtaining the treasure collection, Senju chakra refining technique. Reward. Top chakra control talent. Congratulations to host for obtaining the exquisite collection, 3 body technique. Reward. Talent quick mastery. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Shadow Clone Technique. Reward, True Shadow Clone Technique. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, 2nd Hokage's Swordsmanship Manual. Reward, Top Swordsmanship Talent. Congratulations to host for obtaining the exquisite collection, Water Style Water Dragon Bomb Technique, 3 printing plates. Reward, Top Water Attribute Affinity. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, Earth Style Wall. Reward, Top Earth Attribute Affinity. Talent Quick Mastery. After obtaining this talent, your learning ability will be maxed out, and you can learn anything quickly. True Shadow Clone Technique. A more realistic shadow clone can be separated. As long as it does not suffer fatal limit breaking damage, it can exist for a long time and has a certain chakra autonomous recovery ability, and the damage received by the shadow clone will not follow the shadow clone. Clone is released and fed back to the main body, excluding experience information. Qianzan was ecstatic when he heard the notification sound and checked the information about these rewards. Sure enough, do things related to cultivation have to be valuable for collection? In other words, only things related to the extraordinary system have collection value. Whether this is the case or not will need to be verified by Qianzan later. But he knew he was about to take off. System. Receive the reward. Qianzan said silently in his heart with excitement. The next moment, 6 rewards appeared out of thin air and merged with him. Suddenly, Qianzan felt a stream of warmth flow from his eyebrows to his whole body, making him feel warm and comfortable from his soul to his body. This feeling comes and goes as quickly as it comes. After it was over, he felt that his body and spirit seemed to be much more relaxed, as if many shackles had been removed, and his mind and thinking became clearer and more agile. In addition, the detailed training content of the True Shadow Clone Technique emerged in his mind. He immediately tried to understand it and found it extremely easy. If he hadn't extracted the chakra yet, he even felt that he should be able to cast it successfully after trying twice. Extract chakra first, otherwise, you won't be able to start learning ninjutsu or anything else. With this thought, Qianzan suppressed his excitement, picked up the scroll recording the Senju chakra refining technique, and began to examine and study it carefully. Speaking of which, there will be Senju chakra refining techniques and second-generation swordsmanship manuals in my family. Then our family should be members of the Senju clan who were integrated into Konaha, right? In addition, Grandpa Makaku and Uncle Temu should also be the remnants of the Senju clan. Are they responsible for the survival of us Senju orphans? It's just that I didn't awaken the memory of my past life before, and I didn't realize this. However, there probably aren't many people left in Senju. When the Second Ninja War begins, the remaining Senju Iodai will probably be arranged by the third generation to die on the battlefield in order to eliminate the last influence of the Senju in the village, right? I didn't expect Senju to be in this situation. I feel like this identity is actually a bit dangerous. Qianzan thought with some worry. After all, it seems that third generation and Danzo have secretly never given up on the wood-style blood succession experiment. Especially Danzo. Yamato is the product of the wood-style experiment a few years later. When all the remaining Senju young generation ninjas are dead, and when Uzumaki Mito is dead, it will be time for the third generation to really take action on the Senju and fully launch the wood-style experiment. Second generation is really harmful. It's so stupid to actually come up with some plan to integrate Senju into Konoha. No, I have to improve my strength as soon as possible to protect myself. Even this alone is not enough. It is best to find a backer with sufficient strength and influence. Only in this way can we ensure that Danzo and the others will not dare to touch me easily. It would be even better if we could influence the Senju clan and find a way to stop or even reverse Senju's plan to integrate into Konoha. Qianzan thought with a sense of urgency in his heart. As a descendant of Senju, Qianzan feels that there is no more suitable backer than Tsunade and Uzumaki Mito. But it is difficult to terminate the existing plan of Senju to integrate into Konoha, and it is even harder to reverse this plan. But no matter how difficult it is, we still have to find a way to do it. This is also for the sake of your own life and future. However, if you want to attract the attention and help of Tsunade and Uzumaki Mito, you have to plan carefully. Although he is a Senju clan member who has integrated into Konoha, if his talent and strength are not enough, and if he finds the wrong method, it will be difficult to attract the attention of Tsunade and the others in the short term. And all of this is inseparable from strength. He must first show a certain talent, and at the same time, it is best to let Tsunade and the others know his identity as a Senju descendant. In this process, how not to attract Danzo's attention and cultivation is the key. Uzumaki Kushina. She is the key to my plan. Qianzan locked on a target instantly, and at the same time, he couldn't help but apologize in his heart. Minato, I'm sorry. I want Kushina. You should change your target in the future. Hehe. Speaking of which, he and Namikaze Minato are neighbors and friends. Both of them are orphans, and they often exercise together, practicing kunai, shuriken throwing and so on. Qianzan even suspected at this time that Minato was also an orphan of Senju. Judging from the behavior of Grandpa and the others towards Minato, this possibility is extremely high. Yeah, Grandpa Makaku and the others can try to have more contact in the future to see if they can attract the attention of the remaining Senju. Qianzan decided again. It's almost time. You can start extracting chakra. After sorting out all the plans in his mind, Qianzan retracted his thoughts and carefully checked the chakra refining technique twice. He felt that he not only easily memorized the contents. Even the key points can be easily understood and understood. You already know how to extract chakra. Immediately, he sat down cross-legged and began to try to extract the chakra. Wang. The process was extremely smooth and silky. In less than a minute, Qianzan successfully extracted a trace of physical energy from the cells and combined it with the spiritual energy to condense chakra. Once you have the beginning, the follow-up is even simpler. In the process of refining chakra, Qianzan's understanding of the refining technique of Senju chakra became more and more profound. The efficiency and speed of refining are also getting faster and faster, making it easy to do it at your fingertips. Call. Half an hour later, Qianzan opened his eyes, took a long breath, and stopped refining chakra. Is this the limit? It seems that my physical talent is still not strong enough. I don't know what level chakra is among ninjas. System, open the properties panel. Qianzan felt that the extracted chakra was almost reaching the limit of his body, so he stopped immediately and recited silently in his heart. The next moment, a light curtain that only he could see appeared in front of him. Host, Qianzan. Talents: Quick Mastery, Chakra Control Top Level, Kendo Top Level, Water Attribute Affinity Top Level, Earth Attribute Affinity Top Level. Blood Successor, Senju Blood Successor, extremely incomplete, affected by the top water and soil attribute affinity talent, purified and completed. Physique 6, normal adult genin is 10. Chakra 60, minimum standard for normal genin, 100. Ninjutsu, Senju Chakra Extraction Technique, True Shadow Clone Technique. The minimum standard for ordinary ninjas at each level of chakra. Genin 100 Chunin, 500 Jonin, 5000 Cage level 10,000 plus, Super Shadow 100,000 plus, 6 paths 1 million plus. Sure enough, the key factor that restricts my chakra amount now is my physique. Does the chakra that can be extracted at the limit of 6 points of physique only be 60 points of chakra attribute? Even the minimum standard of genin is not enough. It seems that increasing the amount of chakra can only improve the physical fitness. Qianzan thought somewhat clearly. What? Can you continuously increase the amount of chakra if you insist on extracting chakra every day? What a joke. Do you think this is practicing internal strength or cultivating immortality, and can you continuously accumulate internal energy and spiritual power? The amount of chakra can be increased by continuously extracting chakra every day. This is only for those who are not talented enough and cannot realize their current potential at once. Moreover, this also has limits. Once you reach the current upper limit of your own mental constitution, growth will stop. Like Qianzan, just this time, he has developed his current potential to the limit. In the future, you can only rely on exercise to improve your physical fitness. Or the correct way to increase the amount of chakra is to wait for the body's physique to grow with age, thereby further acquiring new potential for development. Of course, if your mental strength is not strong enough to synthesize chakra with excess body energy, the growth of chakra will also be limited. However, as a time traveler, Qianzan's soul and mental strength are at least twice as strong as those of his peers, so this problem will not occur in the short term. In addition, the improvement of the blood inheritance limit should also improve one's own chakra. The specific principle is not yet clear to Qianzan and needs to be studied. Qianzan, are you at home? At this time, Minato's shouts came from outside the house. Qianzan immediately stopped thinking, stood up and walked outside, while loudly responding, "Here he is. He is here." He quickly left the house and came to the yard, where he saw Minato. As soon as he saw Qianzan, Minato said excitedly, "Qianzan, I have successfully extracted chakra. What about you?" "Oh." Qianzan raised his eyebrows immediately after hearing this, and smiled. "Kaido, congratulations. Minato, you are indeed a genius. However, I am not bad, I also succeeded. Hee." Minato said he was going to start extracting chakra when he went back last night. It only took half a day to extract chakra. Moreover, according to Qianzan's induction, Minato's chakra amount at this time was 1/10 of his. This is a lot, and it has not yet reached the limit of Minato's current physical and mental strength. Minato's chakra amount will continue to increase for a while. After all, Minato is not just like Qianzan. Even if he has outstanding talent, it still takes time to realize his talent. "Oh, sure enough, you succeeded too. Congratulations. Let's go practice first." Minato happily congratulated him and asked Qianzan to go out. "Good. Today I plan to add another ninjutsu training and try to practice a genin jutsu. What do you think?" "Very good. It just so happens that I also have this plan." "Haha, it seems you can't wait too. I'm taking the first step. Let's see who reaches the secret base first." After saying that, Minato suddenly accelerated and ran towards the east edge of the village. "You're such a fool. Don't even think about running away." Qianzan smiled when he saw him and quickly sped up to catch up. Moreover, in the process of accelerating, he also tried to mobilize the chakra in his body, letting it circulate in his feet, and even attached to his legs, in an attempt to gain blessings. With Qian Zan's top-notch control over chakra and his ability to learn quickly, the process of this development attempt was extremely smooth. In just a few breaths, he had initially mastered the secret of chakra's body amplification. His speed suddenly increased and he successfully caught up with Minato at the intersection. "Hey, it's Minato and Qian Zan. Did you get up so early to exercise again today? Not bad, not bad. Minato, Qian Zan, come on." Grandpa Makujian and Uncle Tiamu were busy in front of the store. When they saw Minato and Qian Zan passing by, they were keenly aware of the chakra on them. Both of them were moved in their hearts, but on the surface they were still smiling with them. Greet. Grandpa between scenes. Good morning, Uncle Ironwood. X2. When Qian Zan and Minato saw them, they waved and said hello to them, and then they chased each other quickly away. After the two of them were far away, Uncle Tiamu put down the goods in his hands. He walked up to the old man in the middle of the curtain and whispered in a low voice, "Uncle, in the middle of the curtain, they." Seeing him in the middle of the curtain, he first raised his hand to interrupt Tiamu's words and waved him into the room. When he came to the inner room, he looked at Tiamu and chuckled, "Have you noticed? This kid Xiaoxuan seems to have become, I feel, more cheerful and confident, which is a good thing." Tiamu was slightly startled after hearing this, and remembered Qian Zan's smile just now, and smiled knowingly. Yes. This child has become a lot depressed since the sacrifices of Mori and Hanako. If Minato hadn't been with him, who knows what he would have become. What a good thing it is now. And, did you notice? He has already started to extract chakra. And, the amount of chakra is quite a lot. I remember that he didn't extract chakra yet yesterday, this should be extracted today. This kid is definitely a genius, otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve this level. Uncle Interlude, we need to increase his training. This is our own little genius and we must pay attention to it. Even though the Senju and most of them have integrated into the common people of Konoha, it doesn't mean that they don't care about anything. At least genius must be taken seriously. Moreover, Temu and Makumima themselves are actually a faction opposed to integrating into Senju Konoha's plan. But there is no way. This is the order of Lord Second Hokage. In addition, the current third generation has been insisting on implementing this plan. There are more supporters of this plan than opponents in the clan, so they have no choice. We can only use our own methods to protect and cultivate Senju's talents. The interlude nodded affirmatively. Well, not only Xiaoxuan, but also Minato. Tomorrow I will summon a few old guys in the clan to talk about this matter. Although the clan is still implementing Master Tobarama's plan to integrate into the civilian population, you know, I have never been in favor of this matter. If this continues, the Senju clan may really disappear into the torrent of history. Without the family that sticks together, the tribesmen will have no ability to protect themselves. God knows how he will be treated by Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others. These disciples of Master Tobarama are not easy to use. I am very worried. Under the general trend, this is all they can do. What he is really worried about is that one day these old guys are gone, and Senju may really disappear completely in the torrent of history. However, there are too many Tihanin in the clan, who have been deceived by the second generation's fate and the third generation, and actually choose to resolutely implement this stupid plan. What can they do? Why, Tiamu sighed after hearing this. Yes. But most people in the clan are too naive and believe too much in Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others. In addition, Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others set up Senju on the express orders of Lord Tobarama. For a while, we had no way to stop and reverse this plan. Unless the young patriarch Nawaki can grow up and gain enough voice in the village, it will be possible. But Temu actually doesn't have much hope for this, because the young patriarch Nawaki is a dim-sum Senju. Tihanin is too naive. In terms of ninja talent, he is just a middle-class talent. So, after hearing this, the actor shook his head with a dark face and said, "As for Nawaki, I think it's better to forget it. This kid is stupid, too naive, and doesn't have the brain at all. It's better to count on Xiao Zan than to count on him. Even though Minato is a little naive, I still think more of Zan. However, please remember not to reveal the news that Xiaoxuan extracted chakra in one day. I will also help cover it up to prevent his extraordinary talent from being noticed by interested people. At least, it's not the time for him to over-display his talent. Appropriate talent will be good for him, but too strong a talent will only make him a thorn in some people's eyes and a thorn in their flesh. That will only lead to his premature death. The village is not as peaceful as it appears on the surface, it is dark inside. Tiamu nodded solemnly. Yes. I understand. I'll remind Xiao Zhan right now. I'll leave the rest to you, Uncle Akira. With that said, Tiamu disappeared from the spot in a flash. Not long after, Tiamu caught up with Minato and Xianzan at their secret training base. Xianzan, Minato. Tiamu stepped forward to say hello. After hearing this, Minato and Xianzan couldn't help but turn around. When they saw Tiamu, they were a little surprised and asked in unison, Uncle Tiamu, why are you here? Haha, I have something to tell you. Tiamu walked forward with a smile, reached out and touched their heads, leaned over and said with a serious face, I know you have successfully extracted chakra. But remember, no matter who asks in the future, I have to say that I worked hard for a week to successfully extract the first ray of chakra, do you understand? After hearing this, Xianzan and Minato looked at each other with stern expressions. Neither of them are stupid, and they are both orphans. They have experienced and thought a lot. Naturally, I heard the warning in Uncle Ironwood's words. Even if Minato is naive, he will not ignore this warning, let alone Xianzan. Even without awakening his past life memories, Xianzan is already a smart and intelligent person, let alone that he has already awakened his past life memories. It seems that Uncle Ironwood is indeed a trustworthy person. You can ask him for advice if you have any questions in the future. Xianzan thought to himself. It is impossible for someone who does not truly care about them to say such things at such a time. Moreover, judging from the memories of the past few years, both the old man and Uncle Tiamu treated him and Minato as their own grandsons and sons. This feeling cannot be faked. Yes, Uncle Ironwood, we took note of it. We all refined it for a week before we successfully extracted chakra. Minato and Xianzan immediately said with serious faces. Haha, okay, you are all good kids. After hearing this, Tiamu laughed loudly, and then asked, since you have successfully extracted chakra, as an elder, I will naturally give you some support, right? Have you tested your own chakra properties? Quote. Xianzan nodded affirmatively and said, it has been tested. My chakra attributes are water, earth, and thunder. Among them, the water and earth attributes have been improved to the extreme under the influence of two top attribute affinity talents. Xianzan believes that by practicing these two attributes of ninjutsu, he will definitely get twice the result with half the effort, even more exaggeratedly. Minato also spoke at this time. Xianzan gave me a chakra test paper in advance, so I also tested it. My chakra attributes are wind, fire, and thunder. Tiamu was also very surprised after hearing this. Are they all gifted with 3 attributes? You are indeed geniuses. Okay, I've written it down. Come to my house tonight, Uncle, I will prepare a gift for you and congratulate you on your successful extraction of chakra. That's it, you continue to practice, I'm leaving. Call out. After saying that, Tiamu disappeared here in an instant. Minato and Xianzan looked at each other, and Minato couldn't help but said, Xianzan, what do you think? In his naive way, he came into contact with the darkness of part of the village for the first time, and felt a little uncomfortable. How else can I watch it? After hearing this, Xianzan shrugged and said, our current cultivation has just started, and we are all too weak. There is no point in thinking about this. Working hard to become stronger is our top priority now. Everything else can be postponed. Of course, just be careful in the future. Okay, let's start practicing. With that said, Xianzan went directly to a tree and started chakra control practice first. Yeah, same. Minato saw Xianzan and walked over quickly, but he didn't rush to speak. Instead, he quietly watched Xianzan's movements with some curiosity. Xianzan directly tried to condense chakra under his feet, and then slowly walked on the tree trunk. Click. The first step directly broke the bark of the tree. Xianzan immediately adjusted and reduced the chakra output before taking the second step. Then, under Minato's surprised gaze, he walked up the tree trunk step by step. It was a little unstable at first, but after 3 or 4 steps, Qianzan stepped on the tree trunk and it was as smooth as walking on the ground. In just a few breaths, Qianzan successfully climbed to the top of the tree, which was more than 10 meters high, and stood on the top of the tree. Oh! The scenery up here is quite beautiful. Qianzan looked around, opened his hands, felt the breeze blowing by, and murmured with a chuckle. Qianzan, how did you do this? Teach me. At this time, Minato's shout came from below. Good. Qianzan immediately lowered his head and responded, then followed the same pattern and quickly ran down the tree trunk, quickly returning to the ground. Then he said to Minato, actually, this is the most basic part of chakra control training. Then, Qianzan explained the method and significance of tree climbing training to Minato in detail. He added, after successfully climbing the tree to the top, you can now conduct water treading training to control the chakra. Try to stand steadily on the water. Minato listened and said with a look of surprise, can this still happen? Qianzan, why do I feel that you have become more powerful? You actually know so much. So, this chakra training is to better control chakra and pave the way for learning ninjutsu, right? Minato was indeed not stupid. He immediately thought of more and drew inferences. Good. Qianzan smiled and nodded. That's it. Only when the chakra control is improved, learning ninjutsu will be easier. Okay, I've said all that needs to be said. You start the tree climbing training first. I'm going to tread water training. I'll wait for you to catch up with me. Haha. With that said, Qianzan walked directly to the creek on the side. Then, Minato saw Qianzan stepping on the water step by step. Qianzan was a little unsteady in the first few steps and half of his foot stepped into the water. But after 3 or 4 steps, Qianzan seemed to have easily mastered the trick and was walking smoothly on the water. Even later, Minato saw Qianzan start running, jumping and even doing somersaults on the water, while standing very smoothly on the water. Minato, is this progress too fast? Seeing Qianzan's rapid improvement in chakra control with his own eyes, Minato felt a sense of urgency and immediately began to try tree climbing training. Click, thump. It was not smooth at first, but Minato's talent was not bad. After 7 or 8 attempts, he grasped the key and began to grow rapidly. The screen returns to Qianzan. Sure enough, with top chakra control talent, climbing trees and treading water training is a piece of cake for me. Chakra control should be enough for the time being. You can start practicing ninjutsu. With this thought, Qianzan walked back to the bank from the middle of the river, took out the 2 ninjutsu scrolls he brought out from his arms, and looked at them carefully. After a few minutes, Qianzan felt that he understood the key points of the 2 ninjutsus, and then he put away the scroll. Let's try the earth flow wall first. This feeling should be easier to master. With this in mind, Qianzan immediately began to form the seals slowly and at the same time, mobilizing the chakra in his body to flow according to a specific trajectory. Finally, he leaned over and slapped his hands on the ground. Earth style wall. Boom. The next moment, an earthen wall more than 8 meters high, 3 meters thick, and more than 10 meters long suddenly rushed out of the ground 1 meter in front of Qianzan and stood on the ground. Hearing the noise, Minato, who was climbing the tree, turned around suddenly and happened to see the scene where Qianzan successfully performed the earth-style ninjutsu. He was shocked. Qianzan actually mastered a ninjutsu so quickly. What happened? With this distraction, the chakra under Minato's feet instantly lost control, and he fell from the tree with a scream. Fortunately, he was not high from the ground at this time, only 2 or 3 meters. Minato quickly calmed down, spun in midair, and successfully landed smoothly. Scared me to death. Minato took a deep breath, looked up at Qianzan, and met Qianzan's teasing eyes, and his face suddenly became embarrassed. He rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment, ran to Qianzan and explained with embarrassment, I was surprised by the movement of your ninjutsu and I was distracted. Qianzan, are you overdoing it today? Not only did you climb trees and tread water easily, you even learned the ninjutsu in one go. Do you want to be so pervert? I feel like I'm a little bit shocked. In the past, Qianzan's talent in physical training was not as good as his own, but now when it comes to chakra and ninjutsu talents, Qianzan seems to have become a different person. It makes Minato feel unreal. Hee. After hearing this, Qianzan smiled knowingly and comforted. Maybe I have some talent in chakra control and ninjutsu. Minato, don't underestimate yourself. As far as I know, your progress in chakra control training is also quite good. I believe you will catch up soon. He didn't want to really hit Minato and make him lose confidence. This is his right-hand man in the future, and he is ready to train him. Is that so? Minato was relieved after hearing this. I believe you. If you say so, I will be less stressed. No more talking, you continue to practice ninjutsu. I will continue too. With that, Minato turned and left to complete the tree climbing training. Although Qianzan had comforted him, he still decided to complete the tree climbing and water treading training as soon as possible and then start practicing ninjutsu. Catch up with Qianzan as soon as possible. He, Minato, is not inferior to others. Qianzan saw all this, smiled slightly, and retracted his gaze, and began to summarize his feelings during the spell just now. Chakra input is a little too much, wasting 1/5 of chakra. In addition, the flow of chakra in the body is not stable enough, and the speed of infecting the soil in the soil is not fast enough. It should be like this here. Soon, Qianzan completed the summary in his mind, and then formed a seal again. Earth-style earth flow wall. Boom. After a few breaths, a new earth wall stood in front of Qianzan. The length, width and height of this earth wall are basically the same as the previous one, but the surface is smoother. Qianzan stepped forward and knocked on the two earth walls respectively, then nodded with satisfaction. Well, the hardness has also increased by 30%, not bad. Then, he felt the amount of chakra in his body again, frowned slightly and said, "To ninjutsu consume 2/3 of chakra, this consumption is a bit high." Excluding the waste of the first time, even if it is a standard B-level ninjutsu earth flow wall, with my current chakra amount, I can only perform it about 3 to 4 times, which is the limit. It seems that I still have to find a way to increase the chakra amount as soon as possible. If the chakra amount is not enough, even if his talent for chakra control and ninjutsu talent is high, his combat effectiveness will not be that strong. There's not much chakra left. It's only enough to perform 1 B-level ninjutsu. Let's try the water dragon bomb technique first. Thinking of this, Qianzan stopped practicing earth-style earth flow wall and returned to the river. He reviewed the key points of water dragon bomb in his mind again, and then made 3 seals steadily. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. The next moment, an Uzumaki suddenly appeared in the river, and then a water dragon as thick as a water tank rose from the river. Under Qianzan's control, it rushed to the beach across the river. Boom! A huge hole with a diameter of more than 4 meters and a depth of 3 meters was directly impacted on the beach. Did it work? This time it's the water dragon bomb technique. Qianzan is simply an animal. At this time, Minato, who successfully climbed the tree to the top, happened to see this scene. Looking at the huge hole on the beach, he couldn't help but take a breath, his eyes twitched slightly, and Qianzan's eyes became dim when he looked at the river. He felt that Qianzan was sent by God to attack him. You can't play it like this. These are B-level ninjutsu, and 2 of them. As a result, Qianzan succeeded in performing them at once, and the power was so impressive. Genius is not enough to describe Qianzan, right? But he knew that thinking about these things was useless, and immediately immersed himself in his training. Second generation is really a genius. Such a complex water-style ninjutsu was reduced to 3 seals by him. I remember that Kijin Zabuza's technique requires 44 seals, right? Tisk tisk. Of course, the negative impact of the extreme reduction of seals is that this technique also requires extremely high chakra control. That is Qianzan. For another person, even if this person is a Jonin, it is impossible to master this 3-print water dragon bomb technique in a short period of time. If the learning difficulty of the B-level ninjutsu water dragon bomb technique with 44 printing plates is C level, then the learning difficulty of B-level ninjutsu water dragon bomb technique with 3 printing plates is A level or even S level. It's not of the same magnitude at all. Therefore, it's not that some people don't want to simplify the number of seals or learn a simplified version of ninjutsu, but they just can't do it. It can also be seen from here that Senju Tobarama is indeed a super monster in ninjutsu. Sure enough, chakra has bottomed out. All we can do today is exercise. Perhaps, in the future, you can try to reduce the chakra output and try a weakened version of ninjutsu to increase the number of ninjutsu exercises per day and quickly improve your ninjutsu proficiency. Feeling that his body was nearly empty, Qianzan started to complete today's physical training even though his body was a little tired because most of the chakra had been drained out. More than an hour later, today's physical training was completed. Qianzan felt that chakra had recovered a little, and looked at Minato again. At this time, he was already training in treading water, and he simply did not disturb him. Instead, he broke off a section of a branch, cleared away the branches and leaves, walked into the river with the wooden stick, and started a new test of the collection system. Since we can't keep all the flowers, plants and trees at home, what about the fish? What about the small animals? With this thought in mind, Qianzan spent a few minutes and successfully caught a fat fish weighing 3 to 4 pounds from the river, and then said silently in his heart, "System, collect." System. However, a few seconds passed without any movement from the system. Qianzan's face suddenly fell, and he thought to himself, as expected, it still doesn't work. It seems that splashing fish won't work either. Does it have to be a ninja beast with chakra? Or a stronger beast? Temporarily suppressing his thoughts, Qianzan spent half an hour. After spearing a few more fish, he returned to the shore and gutted several fish. Then, he tried to condense the chakra in his hand, and stretched out his hand to stroke the fish's scales. Immediately, all the fish scales on one side were pulled out cleanly. Hey, it really works. Chakra is really convenient. Seeing that his attempt was successful, Qianzan immediately beamed with joy and followed the same pattern and quickly removed all the scales of the remaining fish. Qianzan, you are really awesome. Minato, who felt hungry after completing the water treading practice, came over and happened to see this amazing scene. He couldn't help but twitch the corners of his eyes slightly, and finally gave Qianzan a thumbs up. How much control does this chakra have to be able to do this easily? Anyway, Minato feels that it is impossible to reach this level without 2 or 3 months of practice. Haha, it's okay. How about it? Are you done with the treading water training? After hearing this, Qianzan smiled cheerfully, lit the fire, inserted the fish, took out the spice bottle from his arms, sprinkled some spices on the fish, and asked. Speaking of this, Minato also nodded happily. It took me a whole morning of hard work, and finally it is basically completed. However, I feel that I still have room for improvement in this area. I plan to continue treading water training in the afternoon. Qianzan, you woolen cloth. He also wanted to practice ninjutsu. But he knew that the basics were more important, and it was better to complete the chakra control training before practicing ninjutsu. In this way, you can get twice the result with half the effort. As for me, I'm going to go for a walk in the nearby forest in the afternoon to hunt some meat, so I won't continue training here with you. The main reason is that chakra hasn't recovered much yet, so it's impossible to continue practicing ninjutsu. In terms of physical training, I have almost reached my limit today. If I go too far, I can only wait until tomorrow. Qianzan chuckled at Kaido. Yeah, that's good. Minato listened, nodded affirmatively, and then reminded, however, when you go hunting in the forest, remember not to go too deep into the forest. There are too many beasts in the depths of the forest and it is too dangerous. I understand. I'll pay attention. Qianzan nodded. After 1 hour, after the two of them finished enjoying the grilled fish, Minato continued to practice treading water. Qianzan felt that his physical strength and chakra had recovered more than half, so he immediately put out the fire, said hello to Minato, and rushed into the forest on the other side of the river with a few ups and downs, and soon disappeared from Minato's sight. Half an hour later, somewhere in the middle of the forest in the east district of Konaha, Qianzan stood on the branch of a big tree, threw away the lion majesty in his hand, and said with a disappointed look on his face, "It really doesn't work either. Then I can only try you." As he spoke, Qianzan looked up at the big wild boar below that was hitting the big tree at his feet, and murmured. This big wild boar is 3 meters tall and over 6 meters long. More importantly, Qianzan sensed weak chakra fluctuations from his body. It has about half the amount of chakra as Qianzan. Obviously, this is a wild boar that has just become a ninja beast. Brush. Immediately, Qianzan no longer hesitated and jumped from one tree to another, then landed and stood in a nearby small stream. Ho ho! The wild boar also discovered its target and ran away, immediately chasing Qianzan. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. The next moment, Qianzan directly made a seal. A water dragon soared directly into the sky from a stream a few meters away and plunged towards the charging wild boar. The terrifying force of the collision knocked the big wild boar unconscious, and it was bleeding from all its orifices. It was pushed by the water dragon and flew more than 10 meters before it suddenly landed on the ground. Swish, swish, swish. Qianzan used the chakra bonus to rise and fall to the side of the wild boar, then put his hand on the wild boar and said silently in his heart, "System, collect." The next moment, the wild boar disappeared directly in front of Qianzan. Collectibles can be stored in the system collection space, or not stored. Congratulations to host for obtaining a low-level ninja beast, a large wild boar, which is a common collectible. Reward: Constitution +10, Contract Summoning Technique. Contract Summoning Technique: you can sign a contract with a creature and summon it from the air. Huh, is it really possible? It seems that as for the beast, it must be a ninja beast or a ferocious beast with chakra. This reward is rich enough. 10 points of constitution, and the contract summoning technique is also good. It is similar to the summoning technique, but more concise. There is no summoning contract scroll, and there are no restrictions. Not bad. System, collect the reward. Qianzan thought silently in his heart with a happy face. The next moment, a warm current flows from the sea of consciousness between the eyebrows throughout the body. Qianzan felt as if his whole body was soaked in a hot spring, warm and extremely comfortable. At the same time, he could clearly feel that every cell in his body was jumping for joy, and his vitality had nearly doubled. Physical strength has also nearly doubled. Strength, agility, physical reactions, etc. are all doubled. In addition, he also sensed that he had potential to tap and extract more chakra. At the same time, a lot of information appeared in his mind, all about contract summoning. Cool. Qianzan clenched his fists with excitement on his face, but quickly calmed down his emotions and said to himself, there was a lot of noise just now, and it's not very far from the village. It might alarm Anbu or something, so let's get out of here first. Quote. With this in mind, Qianzan immediately stepped away and sped away, heading towards the secret base. Now that it is confirmed that beasts with chakra can be collected and rewarded, you can often come to the forest to hunt similar poisonous beasts. In this way, his physique and strength will increase rapidly. While on the road, Qianzan was constantly adjusting and trying to get familiar with the soaring power in his body. With the influence of top chakra control talent and quick learning talent, his body control talent is not bad either. In just over 10 minutes, by the time he rushed back to the secret training base, he had fully adapted to and mastered this surge in power. He even successfully hunted a few ordinary beasts. Yo, Minato. Carrying a deer and several hares, they rushed out of the forest. Qianzan smiled and greeted Minato, who was practicing ninjutsu over there. When Minato heard the sound and movement, he immediately stopped what he was practicing, turned to look at Qianzan, and said with some surprise, Qianzan, are you back now? It's only been more than 3 hours, right? It seems that you have gained a lot. While talking, Minato looked at the prey that Qianzan was holding in his hands and on his back. Hehe, it's not bad. I'm lucky today. I caught a few good prey. We won't be short of meat in the next few days. Qianzan came to Minato with a smile, put down the prey, looked at the ground and trees with cutting marks everywhere in front of him, couldn't help but look at Minato and said, it seems, Minato, you have also mastered a wind-style ninjutsu. How about going back? That's fine. Minato thought for a moment, sensed that the chakra in his body had bottomed out, and nodded affirmatively, then go back. Your physical strength and chakra are basically exhausted. There is no point in continuing to practice. Let's go. Okay, let me help you carry some prey. Also, is it my turn to hunt tomorrow? Minato took the deer from Qianzan and carried it on his back. He walked towards home with Qianzan and said. The two of them used to take turns hunting animals, which not only supported their family income but also satisfied their need for meat. Of course, Qianzan has the inheritance and pension left by his parents, so he is not short of money in the short term. Minato is relatively poor, but it's worth saving a little. There will be many ways to spend money on cultivation in the future. In addition, today I experimented with the ability to collect ninja beasts. Qianzan felt that he might be able to buy one or several ninja beasts to collect and cultivate. See if you can get good rewards. These all require money. It's not necessary to divide it so much. Qianzan was still thinking about hunting more beasts with chakra to earn rewards, but he immediately refused. It's no better than before. Now we have all extracted chakra and started practicing ninjutsu. Our strength is no better than before. Hunting will become much easier, let's go together. It just so happens that the process of hunting is actually a form of training and practical training, what do you think? In the past, they were not strong enough and did not dare to go deep into the forest to hunt the larger beasts. It's different now. With chakra and ninjutsu, you can be bolder. Minato also reacted after hearing this. That's true. Okay then, let's go hunting together from now on and train our practical skills at the same time. Soon, the two returned to the street where their home was. Zan and Minato are back. And they caught so many prey. That's amazing. It's okay. Along the way, they met many neighbors who greeted them warmly, and Qianzan and Minato also responded with smiles. If he was in front of Uncle Timu's shop, he would also be seen by Uncle Tiamu and the old man between the scenes. Zan, Minato is back. The prey is good. The two of them greeted each other. Hey, they were all obtained by Zan Lai. I was practicing today and didn't participate. Minato explained sheepishly. Oh, during the scene, the two of them couldn't help but look at Qianzan. Then, the two frowned slightly and looked at each other, but they didn't say anything more. Instead, they waved their hands and said, "You go back to deal with the prey first. We will go to your place after we close the store." Sighed. Good. Qianzan and Minato did not refuse. They said goodbye immediately and spent a while returning to Qianzan's yard. Then, he began to skillfully break down and process these prey. After the prey was processed, there was a knock on the door in the yard. Zan, Minato. Are you there? We are here. Yes. Minato and Qianzan listened and responded quickly. Minato immediately ran to open the door and welcomed Uncle Tiamu and the old man in between. Several people came all the way to the living room. Qianzan and Minato invited them to sit down and serve tea. During the scene, the old man and Tiamu each took out 2 scrolls from their arms and handed them to Qianzan respectively. This is our little thought, which can be regarded as support for your cultivation. I hope you like it. Thank you, Grandpa Intermediate. Thank you, Uncle Tiamu. Qianzan and Minato saw each other and happily took a scroll from each of them. Congratulations to host for obtaining the general collectible, lightning style thunder ball technique. Reward, top level thunder attribute affinity. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, water style water fang blade. Reward, chakra limit plus 50 and 100,000 taels of money. Hearing the notification sound in his mind, Qianzan was overjoyed and thought to himself, it's actually lightning style and water style. This time I have obtained the top thunder attribute affinity, so practicing lightning style will become extremely easy. However, this water style ninjutsu collection only rewards chakra amount and money. Could it be that the rewards for repetitive items, ninjutsu, etc. of the same category will get worse and worse? This made Qianzan slightly disappointed. However, it is not completely certain yet, and further experiments are needed to know the specific rules. Next, the old man and Tiamu chatted with Qianzan and Minato for a long time. Then, the two specially put Minato aside and asked Qianzan alone, "Qianzan, what did you encounter today? How do I feel? Your vitality has more than doubled." Qianzan was stunned when he heard this, but he was shocked in his heart. He didn't expect that Laozi and Uncle Tiamu were so sensitive during the scene and actually noticed this. Fortunately, Qianzan's mental quality is not bad, and he has already built up his mind. He immediately said with joy and confusion, "Actually, I am not very clear, but my body gradually undergoes these changes in the process of cultivation." Grandpa, Tai Uncle Mew, do you know the reason? Quote, "Oh, is that so? After hearing this, Mingjian and Tai Mu glanced at each other, and both could vaguely see the surprise in each other's eyes. However, on the surface, the two of them still said to Qianzan calmly, "Come, reach out here and let me give it to you, Grandpa. Check it out to avoid any problems." "Good." Qianzan followed the instructions and extended a hand to the old man in the middle of the scene. During the scene, the old man immediately held Qianzan's hand, and while using his mental perception, he tried to insert a small amount of chakra into Qianzan's body to check. Really? Soon, the old man withdrew his chakra and perception, looked at Qianzan with a look of ecstasy and said excitedly, "You kid will really surprise me. This change is indeed your initial awakening of the blood of my Senju clan. The sign of the next limit." "Really?" Tiamu on the side also looked surprised and asked. The blood inheritance limit." Qianzan was slightly startled when he heard this, and pretended to be a little surprised and said, "And we, the Senju clan. Am I not from a commoner background?" After hearing this, the old man took back his hand, glared at Qianzan angrily and said, "You are still pretending to me. I don't believe you didn't notice. Just the name of the chakra refining technique you practice, you should be able to guess based on your intelligence, right?" Hey. Qianzan immediately smiled coquettishly after hearing this, nodded and said, "I know I can't hide it from you, Grandpa Baijian. That's right. Minato and I actually had some guesses, but we couldn't be sure before. Now it seems that our guesses are true. It seems that Grandpa Makaku and Uncle Temu are indeed members of the Senju clan. But why haven't I heard that the Senju clan has blood inheritance limits?" Although he said this, Qianzan said in his heart that this was really not the reason for Shuiji's awakening. It's just a change brought about by the physical constitution rewarded by the system. Of course, it is true that the sudden increase in physical fitness, coupled with the two top attribute affinity talents of water and earth, seemed to be stimulating his Senju bloodline to begin to transform. Nature. The interlude didn't know what Qianzan was thinking. Hearing his question, he nodded affirmatively and said, "We are both the top ninja family in the ninja world. Even Uchiha has a blood inheritance limit Sharingan. How can I, Senju, not have my own? The limit of blood inheritance. It's just that the limits of my Senju's inheritance are in terms of physique and chakra, so the characteristics are not that obvious. The most obvious manifestation of our Senju's blood inheritance limit is the huge amount of chakra, huge vitality, and strong physical recovery ability. Your current situation is obviously a sign of the initial awakening of the Senju bloodline limit." Qianzan listened and nodded clearly, "That's it. It seems that I am really a genius." After hearing this, he looked solemn and warned, "Don't be happy too early. This is both a good thing and a disaster. The village is not as peaceful as you think. Some people may not be willing to see a genius born from a Senju descendant appear." Qianzan suddenly panicked after hearing this. "Grandpa Zongjian, what should I do? Is there any way to hide this? The panic is fake, but the desire to hide it is real." After hearing this, he raised his brows slightly and said happily, "You are quite smart and not arrogant at all. This really reassures me. As for the solution you mentioned, of course there is one. Here, this is for you." As he said that, he took out a scroll from his arms and handed it to Qianzan. "There is a breath concealment seal inside. With this sealing technique, as long as you don't take the initiative to burst out all your breath, others will not be able to sense the vitality in your body unless they have personal contact with your body. It will only be because it is an ordinary vitality level. Next, Grandpa, I will help you plant this technique, and at the same time, teach you how to activate and close this technique. Do you understand? This breath concealment technique is actually a relatively useless sealing technique. Because his only function is to hide the breath of life force, and cannot hide chakra, so his effect is limited. But for Qianzan now, it is very effective. Is that so? I understand." Qianzan listened, took the scroll, and nodded clearly. At the same time, the system prompt sounded in his mind as expected. "Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Sealing Technique Aura Concealment Seal. Reward, Top Sealing Technique Talent, Talent Aura Concealment. Talent Aura Concealment. Activate the talent to hide all your own aura, greatly reducing your sense of presence. ... These two are so talented. With the top-level sealing skills talent, it will be much easier for me to learn sealing skills now. The breath concealment talent can actually hide all of one's own breath, greatly reducing one's sense of existence. Isn't this the top assassin talent? After Qian Zhan received the information from the system, he remained calm on the surface, but was ecstatic in his heart. With the breath concealment talent, he doesn't even need to plant the breath concealment sealing technique. But this kind of thing couldn't be told openly to the old man in the middle of the scene, so Qian Zhan simply didn't plan to say it and just accepted the kindness honestly. The worst thing is, after you master this sealing operation completely, you can just lift it. Tiamu, please go out and guard. I'll plant the sealing technique on Zhanboy first. During the intermission, he immediately waved to Tiamu and made some arrangements. Good. Tiamu immediately stood up and left the living room, and went to the yard to chat with Minato. More than 10 minutes later, Qian Zhan was brought out of the room during the intermission. In the middle of the scene, he turned to Qian Zhan and Minato and warned him again, in the next few years, you should try your best to grow as low-key as possible. When your strength improves and you have the ability to protect yourself, that's when you will reveal your full strength. Before that, it's always right to be low-key. Yes, we remembered it. Qian Zhan and Minato listened and nodded quickly. Okay, let's go. The interlude was very satisfied with the attitude of the two people, so he immediately greeted Tiamu and left Qian Zhan's house. Minato then looked at Qian Zhan, touched his chin and said, I always feel that there are some changes in you, but I can't feel the specifics. It's strange. Hey. Qian Zhan smiled mysteriously after hearing this and said, that's right. It's just that Grandpa Mingjian was worried that my strength would improve too quickly and be exposed to the eyes of interested people, which would bring me danger, so he added a breath seal to me. I see. Minato immediately understood after hearing this, and at the same time, he was very moved by Qian Zhan's unreserved trust. He immediately swore, Qian Zhan, don't worry, I will never reveal any of your secrets. Haha, of course I believe you. Otherwise I wouldn't have said it. After hearing this, Qian Zhan smiled cheerfully, and then waved, okay. I'm hungry. Let's start making dinner. Okay, wait for me. Immediately, the two went into the house and started preparing dinner. After 1 hour, after dinner, after Minato left, Qian Zhan came to the bedroom, opened the 2 ninjutsu scrolls given by Makunama and Temu, and read through them carefully. After more than 10 minutes, Qian Zhan felt that he knew these 2 ninjutsus well, so he put down the scroll. Make a seal with your hands. Lightning-style thunderball technique. Zizizi. The next moment, a blue thunderball the size of a basketball condensed in Qian Zhan's right hand. The terrifying thunder and lightning made a sizzling sound, and tiny arcs of electricity surrounded the thunderball, which looked both dangerous and beautiful. Normally, during battle, one would throw the thunderball to attack the enemy, but Qian Zhan did not do so at this time. Instead, he felt the process of performing the technique carefully, and then began to make constant adjustments. The thunderball in his hand also continued to change during his adjustment process. Sometimes it is stable, sometimes violent, sometimes it expands, sometimes it shrinks. A few minutes later, Qian Zhan felt that most of the chakra in his body was consumed, and then he completely eliminated the thunderball step by step and terminated the technique. Call. After doing this, he took a deep breath and said with joy, lightning style is indeed the most difficult ninjutsu category to control. However, with the top chakra control talent and the lightning attribute affinity talent, in just these few minutes, I have mastered the control of this lightning-style thunderball technique. After that, it will be much easier to learn other lightning-style ninjutsu. In addition, my experience of lightning style's form changes has also broken through several levels, and even lightning style's nature transformation has touched the edge. After working hard for a while, maybe I can develop my own new lightning style ninjutsu based on the lightning style thunderball technique. For example, the Chidori series, Reikiri series, etc. that Kakashi will develop in the future. With his current talent, he can develop these lightning style ninjutsu in advance. Yeah, and Rasengan too. Once the basics are improved, just take the time to develop it. Qian Zhan thought to himself. Also, I wonder if I can collect the new ninjutsu I developed myself. Qian Zhan couldn't help but think again. If not, the loss will be huge. I'll give it a try then, I hope it works. It's useless to worry now, I can only wait until new ninja is developed. It's time to extract chakra and develop the amount of chakra to the limit of your current physique. With this thought, Qianzan immediately sat cross-legged on the couch, closed his eyes and started to perform the chakra refining technique. With the operation of the refining technique, his chakra began to recover rapidly, and at the same time, the upper limit of the amount of chakra also began to increase rapidly. After more than half an hour, Qianzan stopped and opened his eyes. Opened the Properties panel. Host, Qianzan. Talent, slightly. Top Thunder Attribute Affinity, Top Sealing Talent, Aura Concealment. Blood Successor, Senju Blood Successor, extremely incomplete, affected by physical enhancement and Top Water and Soil Attribute Affinity Talent, purified and completed. Chakra Attributes Water, Earth, Thunder. Physique 21, Normal Adult Genin is 10. Chakra, 210, Minimum Standard for Normal Genin, 100. Ninjutsu. About. Contract Summoning Technique, Lightning Style Thunder Ball Technique, Water Style Water Fang Blade, Sealing Technique Aura Concealment. 2 days passed in a flash. In the past 2 days, Qianzan and Minato, in addition to their daily practice, have spared a few hours every day to go to the middle of the forest to the east of the village to hunt ferocious beasts and poisonous insects, and to practice their actual combat abilities. In addition to the improvement in actual combat ability, Qianzan successfully hunted a beast with chakra every day in the past 2 days, gaining 5 points and 3 points of physical improvement respectively. Qianzan also successfully mastered the method of performing the weakened version of ninjutsu, which greatly reduced the consumption of ninjutsu and greatly increased the number of times he could practice ninjutsu every day. Furthermore, he has become more and more proficient in the several ninjutsu he currently masters, and has even developed corresponding improved ninjutsu, making amazing progress. Minato was so shocked that he was numb. Sure enough, the more things of the same category you collect, the worse the rewards you get. I guess if I collect a few more beasts with chakra, the reward will be reduced to ultimate, right? It seems that we have to expand the hunting categories in the future to see if we can get new collectibles. Qianzan thought to himself on the way to the ninja school to take the entrance examination with Minato. Otherwise, his speed of improvement will be affected. Qianzan, we're at school. Why are you so stunned? At this time, Minato's voice came from the front, interrupting Qianzan's thinking. Coming. Qianzan immediately came back to his senses, waved to Minato, then quickly stepped forward, received and filled out the registration form, and walked into the ninja school. After that, they began to take one assessment according to the school's procedures. The content of the assessment is actually not much. The basic ones include physical strength assessment, basic physical skills assessment and ninja tool throwing assessment. If you have already extracted chakra, you can also take additional assessments, which will give you extra points. At this time, on the roof of a building in the ninja school, Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya all stood here overlooking the assessment situation below. Those two brats should be Qianzan and Namikaze Minato that the elders mentioned, right? Sure enough, the amount of chakra is quite large, and both of them have reached the genin standard. Even the chakra amount of that kid named Qianzan is in the upper middle range among genin. It only took 3 days to extract chakra. He is indeed a genius, and he is worthy of the clan's increased efforts in cultivating him. However, I will have to test it myself later on as to the specific strength. Tsunade's perception was very keen, and with the pre-description between scenes, he immediately locked onto Qianzan and Minato, thinking in his mind. She was well aware of the differences within the Senju clan, but she couldn't tell which side to take. But when a genius appears in the clan, it is always right to provide more support and training. Even though both Qianzan and Minato or Senju who have integrated into the village. Tsunade's abnormality attracted the attention of Orochimaru and Jiraiya. Orochimaru followed Tsunade's gaze and locked onto Qianzan and Minato. Sensing the amount of chakra in their bodies, Orochimaru suddenly showed a hint of surprise and said, "They are indeed two geniuses." "So, Tsunade, these two brats are why did you specially call us here today?" Jiraiya also nodded. "They are indeed two geniuses. They are only 5 years old. They already have genin-level chakra when they first entered school. They are no worse than me before." Whispering sound. Jiraiya's words drew both Tsunade and Orochimaru's disdainful looks. Are you so embarrassed? Who doesn't know that you were a jackass back then? Orochimaru sneered directly and venomously. Orochimaru. Teba, do you want to fight? Jiraiya suddenly growled angrily at Orochimaru. If the occasion wasn't suitable and he was worried about the impact, he would have cursed directly. This is slander, Orochimaru slandered him. Tisk. Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya boredly, not bothering to reply. Of course, he was actually very happy. Another day of fighting Jiraiya. Jiraiya, forget it. At this time, Tsunade interrupted Jiraiya's nonsense with disdain and asked, let's get down to business, what do you think of these two little devils? Are you interested in taking them as disciples? Oh, Orochimaru and Jiraiya were surprised to hear this. Orochimaru licked his tongue, looked at Chianzan and Minato meaningfully, then looked at Tsunade and asked, is there anything special about these two brats? Can it attract your attention and make you recommend them? Quote. Jiraiya asked the same question. Tsunade did not hide anything and replied directly, these two little devils are the descendants of Senju's clan members who integrated into the village. Moreover, both of them are orphans. What they have achieved today is basically due to their own efforts. I heard that they started training hard more than a year ago. The tribe asked me to investigate whether to increase their training and support. The specific method of training can only be decided after she personally tests it. But judging from the current situation, she thought it was pretty good, so she mentioned it to Orochimaru and Jiraiya. Let the two of them have an impression of Minato and the others. It would be better if Orochimaru and Jiraiya were interested in taking on apprentices. So this is Orochimaru and Jiraiya suddenly understood after hearing this. No wonder you have such an amount of chakra at such a young age. It turns out that you are a descendant of Senju. It's not surprising. But, at this time, Orochimaru added, I have no plans to accept any more disciples for the time being. One disciple, Nawaki, is enough for now. He has a lot to do. The task of the village, own research. If it weren't for Tsunade's sake, he wouldn't even accept Nawaki as his disciple. Tsunade listened and nodded without surprise, then looked at Jiraiya, what about you? Me. Jiraiya listened, looked at Chianzan and Minato, and finally locked his eyes on Minato. Coincidentally, Minato over there seemed to sense Jiraiya's gaze and couldn't help but look over. After seeing Jiraiya and the others, Minato was stunned for a moment, obviously recognizing the Jiraiyas. He immediately smiled brightly and gently, nodded slightly and looked away. This smile made Jiraiya slightly startled, as if he was infected. He touched his chin and thought, I think that blonde boy is very good. He feels like the warm sun. Perhaps, I can try to get in touch with him. If it satisfies me, it seems good to accept him as a disciple. Fate is so wonderful sometimes. Oh, Tsunade was a little surprised when he heard this, but he was more happy. In that case, it's settled. Minato will be your apprentice from now on. Hey. After hearing this, Jiraiya was a little flustered and defended. I just said that I want to make contact, but I haven't said that I really want to accept disciples. Then I don't care. Tsunade waved his hand directly. That's it, it's settled anyway. I'm leaving first. With that said, Tsunade left directly. Jiraiya was left speechless. He turned to look at Orochimaru and sighed. Hey. Am I in trouble? Who knows. Let's go. Orochimaru shrugged, showing a gloating expression, and walked away. Jiraiya. What's this called? Within the Senju tribe, in a core courtyard. You're back. How are you? Did you see the two children mentioned in the intermission? How do you feel? Uzumaki Mito asked with a smile when he saw Tsunade walking into the courtyard. I see it. Tsunade nodded. It looks pretty good so far. I won't know for sure until I test it myself. But for now, it seems that it is worth cultivating. Uzumaki Mito listened and nodded with satisfaction. That's good. To be honest, I don't really agree with Senju's plan to integrate into the common people of Konoha. But this is Tobarama's plan after all, and the monkeys are trying their best to implement it, and there are too many iron fools in the clan who are fooled by the monkeys. I can't stop this, and I can't stop it by force. Otherwise, when I'm gone, Senju will probably fall into an even more embarrassing situation. In fact, the most important thing is that the Senju clan currently does not have anyone with enough ability and strength to stand up and take charge of the overall situation of the Senju clan. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so passive. Tsunade is good, but she doesn't care much about the affairs of the clan. In addition, she is a disciple of the third generation, so she is greatly influenced by the third generation. Some of them have been misled and deceived by the third generation, and many things are temporary. Can't see clearly yet. Uzumaki Mito wanted to train Nawaki at first. But over the years, she has finally figured out that Nawaki is even more naive than his grandfather, Senju Hashirama. There is no way to engage in intrigues, it is too naive. Ninja talent is only acceptable, not up to Uzumaki Mito's expectations. Therefore, in order for Nawaki to live a stable life in the future, Uzumaki Mito has no way to stop Senju's plan to integrate into the civilian population. Otherwise, when she dies, Nawaki may suffer. However, after hearing about Qianzan and Minato from the intermediary side a few days ago, it made Uzumaki Mito's mind a lot more active. She also wanted to see if Qianzan and Minato were as good and smart as they said in the interlude. If so, then increase training efforts. It would be best if they could grow into beings that could support the Senju clan. By then, it may be time for Senju to change again. Senju is also saved. Even if it doesn't reach that level, it can at least train 2 helpers for Senju and Nawaki. When she's gone, you can help take care of Nawaki, right? No loss whatsoever. Ouch. Grandma, what are you talking about? After hearing this, Tsunade immediately hugged Uzumaki Mito's arm and said coquettishly, "How could you not be here? You will definitely live a long life. We can't live without you in the family." Hee. After hearing this, Uzumaki Mito smiled kindly and reached out to touch Tsunade's head, but his heart was heavy. Tsunade is too naive. I really don't know what this family would be like without her. Because of this, she was even more unable to die with peace of mind, and kept trying harder to persevere. Qianzan and Minato's side. The 2 successfully passed the examination without any surprise, and because they had successfully extracted chakra, they were basically scheduled to be members of the core class. After the 2 left the ninja school, they happily rushed to the secret training base. Not long after, the 2 arrived here. Then, they started their own training respectively. Brush. It was also at this time that Jiraiya quietly followed the 2 of them to this secret training base. From a distance, he hid in a big tree and observed the 2 of them, well, mainly the situation on Minato's side. Brush. At this time, Tsunade appeared beside Jiraiya and asked, "How is it?" "Ah, how about what?" Jiraiya was slightly taken aback and said in confusion. Tsunade curled his lips and said, "Of course, how are the 2 of them doing? Have you made a decision?" "Hi." After hearing this, Jiraiya waved his hand and said, "How can it be so fast? Can't you inspect it carefully? I am not a casual person." Whispering sound. After hearing this, Tsunade said with contempt, "You are not a human being if you act casually. Forget it. I'm too lazy to tell you. What can you tell by looking like this? Just go up and leave." With that said, Tsunade dodged and rushed over. "Hey, Tsunade. Hey, forget it." It was too late for Jiraiya to stop him. He sighed helplessly and could only duck to follow. Soon the 2 of them appeared in the open space of the secret base with a swipe. Brush. Seeing this, Qianzan and Minato also looked over. "You are..." Qianzan and Minato couldn't help but asked in confusion. Tsunade raised his eyebrows, looked at Qianzan and Minato for a few times, and said with a smile, "Stop pretending, kid. I can see it, you definitely recognize us." "Ah ha ha." Qianzan and Minato both smiled after hearing this. Qianzan shrugged helplessly and said, "Master Tsunade, you are really direct." Indeed, as a member of Konaha, who cannot know Master Tsunade and Master Jiraiya? "So, why did you 2 come to us specifically?" At this time, Jiraiya said directly, "Kid, don't get me wrong, I'm just here to see Minato." "What's that, Minato boy? Come with me." With that said, Jiraiya greeted Minato and walked away. Minato looked at Qianzan, nodded to Qianzan, and followed him, leaving only Qianzan and Tsunade here. "So, Tsunade-sama is here to see me?" Qianzan looked at Tsunade and asked. He didn't expect Tsunade to come to the door at this time. It should be thanks to Grandpa Bakuma. It seems that his status within the Senju clan is not low. That's a good thing. For Qianzan, the sooner he gets connected with Tsunade and the others, the better. In this way, many plans can be started in advance. But he estimated that the original plan of keeping a low profile for several years would most likely be impossible. At least, it is impossible to be completely low-key. So be it. Tsunade nodded, then looked at Qianzan and said, "Your mind is more mature and stable than I expected. So, Uncle Zhang hasn't mentioned me to you yet." From what Qianzan just said, Tsunade had a general feeling. Qianzan has a good personality and exceeded his expectations. This really doesn't exist. Qianzan shook his head. Tsunade nodded, clenched his fist, hooked Qianzan and said, "No more nonsense. Next, I'm going to test your strength and talent. Use all your strength and means to attack. I will look at your performance and give you a corresponding training plan afterwards. If your performance doesn't satisfy me, then forget about it." Come on. Tsunade has a straightforward character and doesn't bother to say anything more, so he directly invites a fight. Okay. When Qianzan saw it, he was stunned for a moment, then his expression straightened. He reached out and flicked the ninja tool bag behind his back, and 3 shurikens appeared in his hand. Boo-hoo. The 3 shurikens were instantly thrown towards Tsunade with a special technique. Chapter 11. Immediately afterwards, Qianzan quickly formed seals with his hands. Lightning-style thunderball. The next moment, he condensed a blue thunderball the size of a basketball and threw it towards Tsunade. Whispering sound. Tsunade slapped his hand directly, creating a flow of air that directly flew away the 3 incoming shurikens. Then, he stepped on it, and cracks appeared directly on the ground. Call out. Tsunade rushed towards Qianzan like a cannonball. Just in time, Qianzan's lightning-style attack struck at this time. Weird punch. Tsunade didn't even think about it and punched him directly. Zitsa. However, the moment her fist came into contact with the thunderball detonated directly on its own. Boom. It instantly expanded into a lightning field with a diameter of more than 3 meters, covering Tsunade's entire body. Hiss. The pain of the electric shock made Tsunade grit her teeth. At the same time, she felt numbness all over her body, causing her movements to freeze for a moment. Wang. The next moment, an even more terrifying chakra rose from Tsunade's body. Tsunade forcibly dispelled the paralysis in his body, then clenched his fists, looked at Qianzan in surprise and praised, "Not bad. Kid. This lightning style is a variant of the thunderball technique. It seems that you have improved it." At this time, Qianzan stood in the middle of the river behind him, holding seals with both hands. Hearing this, he nodded affirmatively, "Not bad. The simple thunderball technique is unsatisfactory in terms of attack power and effect, so I will proceed. Made some improvements. Very good." Tsunade listened and nodded with satisfaction. Boom. The next moment, the ground beneath his feet broke again, forming a larger hole. She turned into afterimages and rushed towards Qianzan at an extremely terrifying speed. Is the speed more than twice as fast as before? Water-style water dragon bomb technique. But Qianzan was already ready. The next moment, a water dragon shot up into the sky and hit the oncoming Tsunade. Weird punch. Get out of my way. Tsunade punched him without thinking. In an instant, he smashed the water dragon, and then forcefully broke through the water curtain and punched Qianzan. Boom. Seeing that Qianzan was about to be hit, a water dragon suddenly rushed out from in front of Qianzan and hit Tsunade. This sudden impact caught Tsunade off guard, interrupting Tsunade's attack and seeing her rush high into the sky. Water-style double water dragon bomb technique. Qianzan's mouth curled up slightly, and he muttered silently in his mind, and then, swipe. He quickly completed the seal, standing with his hands on both sides, and 2 aqua water blades quickly formed on his hands. Water-style water blade Gaikai double blade dance. Immediately afterwards, a vortex formed under his feet, rising directly into the sky against Qianzan, and caught up with Tsunade in an instant. Qianzan directly swung the water blades, waving his hands towards Tsunade. This kid, he really brings surprises to me every time. But it's still too tender. You shouldn't be so naive and so close. Everything happened in just a few breaths. Although Tsunade was stunned by the sudden water dragon bomb, his internal organs were slightly injured, and a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. But with her excellent physique and recovery power, she had recovered a little. When she saw Qianzan coming close to attack, she suddenly showed a cold smile. Tenshoji. With the impact of the water dragon bomb, he suddenly turned over in midair, condensed the terrifying chakra on his right foot, and slammed into Qianzan. Boom! Tsunade's feet instantly collided with Qianzan's double blades. The gap in strength and chakra nature transformation caused Qianzan's double blades to shatter after less than 2 breaths. Then, Tsunade's foot hit Qianzan directly. Not good. Tsunade's heart skipped a beat the moment the water blade shattered. In the heat of the moment, I forgot the importance of what to do. Even though she tried her best to regain her strength, in a hurry, she only regained 3/3 of her strength, and her foot directly hit Qianzan. Qianzan. Minato, who was watching the battle in the distance, almost made a sound and rushed over in panic. Not good. Jiraiya also realized that something was wrong at the first time, and rushed to Qianzan's side, hoping to rescue him. However, before Tsunade had time to panic, he suddenly felt something was wrong. Bump. The next moment, Qianzan's voice turned into a stream of water and spread out. Tsunade's attack failed. This. Shadow clone. Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Minato were all stunned when they saw this scene. Water-style double water dragon bomb technique change vortex strangulation. At this moment, a voice sounded from the water, and then 2 water dragons rushed out of the water in a circling posture and strangled Tsunade. Not good. The timing was perfect, just when Tsunade's old strength was exhausted and new strength was yet to emerge. The next moment, the vortex directly bombarded Tsunade, and her whole body was entangled. But the imaginary screams did not appear. However, a lot of sawdust scattered in the next moment. Body replacement technique. Not good. Qianzan was about to suffer when he saw this scene. At the same time, he sensed a huge chakra source appearing behind him. Without thinking, he rushed directly to the shore. Boom! Before he ran 2 meters, there was a terrifying explosion and a strong push behind him. It directly blew his entire body away. Qianzan rolled twice in midair to relieve his strength, and then landed on the ground on the shore. His feet flew back, dragging 2 long ravines on the ground. Qianzan raised his head and saw that Tsunade had already dodged and landed on the shore. He was standing 4 meters away opposite him, clenching his fists and looking at Qianzan with a ferocious smile on his face. You're quite capable. Kid, still, use whatever means you have, otherwise you will have no chance. Qianzan heard this and quickly formed seals without hesitation. Kaka. Tsunade also smashed the ground with his foot and rushed towards Qianzan with his fist. Earth-style wall change triple earth-style wall. The next moment, a 3-meter thick earth wall burst out of the ground half a meter in front of Qianzan, blocking Qianzan and Tsunade. Qianzan quickly dodged and retreated. Weird punch. Tsunade punched the earth wall. Numerous cracks suddenly appeared in the entire earth wall, and it exploded. However, the next moment Tsunade unexpectedly discovered that the earth wall was not 1 solid wall, but 3. Moreover, there is a 20-centimeter gap between each line. This also resulted in her not being able to directly smash the entire earth wall with 1 punch. After only smashing 2 earth walls, the power of this strange power fist was exhausted. This brat, every ninjutsu has been improved. This level of improvement, this kind of earth flow wall, what a genius. Jiraiya witnessed this scene and couldn't help but marvel. Minato on the side said calmly, this is just Qianzan's basic operation. He has unparalleled talent in ninjutsu. Normally he should keep it a secret, but now that Qianzan has been exposed, there is no need to keep it secret. In addition, he also knows Tsunade's identity very well. Qianzan analyzed it with him frequently. It's clear that Tsunade can basically be trusted. As for Jiraiya, he is not important anymore. Weird punch. Boom. Tsunade, on his side, punched the earth wall again, smashing the remaining layer of earth wall into pieces. When he saw Qianzan, who had retreated more than 10 meters, he prepared to continue rushing over to attack. I surrender. However, at this time, Qianzan raised his hands without hesitation and chose to admit defeat. Kid, what did you say? After Tsunade heard this, his movements froze, and veins popped out on his forehead. He clenched his fists and asked in a ferocious voice. If you don't give me a satisfactory explanation, Deo, I will blast your posture with one punch. Qianzan also saw this and quickly explained, Master Tsunade, aren't you here to test me? I have just used up all the ninjutsu and methods I currently have. The chakra is almost exhausted. There's no point in continuing to hold on. What else can we do if we don't surrender? Being beaten unilaterally, he's not that cheap yet. Tsunade. Although he felt very unhappy, Tsunade had to admit that this kid was very sensible and clear-headed. Never mind. Seeing how sensible this kid was, she couldn't continue to bully a 5-year-old child, so she had no choice but to put away her fists. Then, he appeared in front of Qianzan, holding his hands, looking at Qianzan meaningfully and saying, not only is your brain good, but your fighting intelligence is also good, your strength is also not bad. I see that your previous ninjutsu development and chakra control have been extremely strong, and you are very suitable for learning medical ninjutsu. How about it? Do you want to become your teacher and learn medical ninjutsu from me? Originally, she had no intention of taking on a disciple. Testing Qianzan is just to see Qianzan's strength and talent. Then, according to their performance, they will be given corresponding resources for training. But Qianzan's understanding of ninjutsu and his superb control over chakra made her heart move. This is a super genius. She saw the shadow of her second grandfather in Qianzan. Qianzan was also stunned after hearing this, obviously not expecting Tsunade to ask such a question. Why are you so stunned? Do you want to? Just tell me. Tsunade glared at him angrily and asked. I am willing. I am naturally willing to become your disciple, Lord Tsunade. Qianzan reacted and nodded happily. This result exceeded his expectations. Originally, he wanted a backer in the short term, and at the same time, he also wanted to get in touch with the core of the Senju clan. I want to find a way to reverse the disbandment of the Senju clan and use it to my own advantage. Now that he is Tsunade's disciple, the subsequent plan is much simpler. Very good. Upon hearing this reply, Tsunade reached out and patted Qianzan on the shoulder with satisfaction and said, then from today on, you are my disciple, Tsunade. Let's go. I'll take you over there to get to know Jiraiya's gang. If you have any trouble in the future, you can go to him. With that said, Tsunade brought Qianzan to Jiraiya and the others, and introduced Qianzan to Jiraiya. I've met Lord Jiraiya. Qianzan asked Jiraiya immediately. Ah ha ha. Jiraiya laughed and touched the back of his head and said, you don't have to be so polite. You are really awesome, far beyond my expectations. I didn't expect that you have improved every ninjutsu. This is not something ordinary people can do. That is to say, Jiraiya didn't know that it only took a few days for Qianzan to achieve all this, otherwise, he would be called a monster. Where there? Qianzan smiled modestly after hearing this. Congratulations, Qianzan. At this time, Minato also smiled and congratulated. He was happy for Qianzan from the bottom of his heart. He knew very well that Qianzan had never felt safe. He always felt unsafe in the village, as if someone might harm him at any time. Originally, Minato had no sense of crisis in this regard. But under the image of Qianzan, he gradually developed a sense of crisis. So, he worked harder and harder. Thanks. Qianzan smiled back and blessed. I believe that with your talent and character, you will be recognized by Lord Jiraiya and become his disciple. Thanks. Minato also smiled happily. Haha, you can't tell. When Jiraiya saw it, he smiled cheerfully and greeted Minato, okay. Qianzan, your assessment is completed. Minato hasn't started yet. Minato, come with me. With that said, Jiraiya left with Minato. Tsunade turned to Qianzan and said, come to the ninja hospital to find me tomorrow. I'm leaving first. With that said, Tsunade disappeared here in a few flashes. Wait, Qianzan raised his hand to say something, but Tsunade had disappeared. Qianzan looked speechless. School starts tomorrow. I still have to go to school. Hey, it seems I can only use Shadow Clone instead. Using Shadow Clone on the first day of school, tisk tisk, I should be the first one, right? Qianzan smiled meaningfully. But you can't blame him, blame Tsunade. Tsunade, on his side, returned home and saw Uzumaki Mito again. You're back. You're pretty fast. How's it going? Uzumaki Mito asked with a gentle smile. Not bad. I have accepted that boy Qianzan as my disciple. Tsunade walked carelessly across from Uzumaki Mito, picked up an apple from the fruit basket, and gnawed on Kaido. Oh, Uzumaki Mito was surprised when he heard this. It seems that you are very satisfied with him. Otherwise, with your character, you would not be able to accept a disciple easily. She knew Tsunade too well. He is a very playful person and is quite afraid of trouble. Indeed, his talent far exceeds my expectations. Tsunade nodded, and then told Uzumaki Mito the entire process of the assessment in detail. Finally, he concluded, I see the shadow of second grandpa in him. I feel that if this kid is well cultivated, he might be able to reach or even surpass second grandpa's level in the future. Qianzan has this potential in her eyes. Oh, Mito nodded affirmatively after listening to him. If his performance is really the same as you described, then this child's talent and brain are probably much better than Tobirama. You may not know yet, this child has only extracted chakra for more than a week, and has been learning ninjutsu for almost the same amount of time. But in such a short time, he has already achieved this level. Even your second grandfather was far less outstanding than him at this age. It seems that my Senju clan is going to have a super genius. We have to protect this child. Tsunade, bring the child to me tomorrow morning. I have to ensure him. She knew very well that Tsunade's assessment of Qianzan would definitely not be hidden from the third generation, Danzo and other people who were interested. In order to prevent Qianzan from having any accidents, she had to stand up for Qianzan in advance and cut off the tentacles that might reach Qianzan in advance. Huh. Tsunade was surprised for a moment, then reacted, his face gradually became serious, nodded seriously and said, okay. I'll bring him to see you tomorrow morning. Also, I'll go to the Hokage's office now and tell the teacher that I'm accepting Qianzan as my apprentice. Let's first settle the status, so that Qianzan will be the grand disciple of the third generation in the future. The third generation will not be bad for Qianzan, and will even protect Qianzan to a certain extent. At least, this is the case before Qianzan really grows up and threatens the third generation. At the same time, the third generation can help Qianzan block the threat from Danzo. Okay, Uzumaki Mito nodded with relief. It's good that you can consider this. It's just right, you can just tell Hiruzen for me to come to my place tomorrow morning. Okay, Tsunade squinted and smiled. She already understood what her grandmother wanted to do, and naturally had no objection. With her grandmother backing her up, she felt at ease and relaxed. Tsunade left home immediately and came to the Hokage's office soon. Coincidentally, at this time, the third generation heard Anbu report that Tsunade tested Qianzan and accepted him as a disciple. Bang! Just after listening, the door of the Hokage's office was pushed open. Tsunade walked in carelessly with the third generation's eyes twitching slightly, glanced at Anbu, and then said to the third generation, "Old man. I accepted a disciple named Qianzan, come to report to you." The third generation took a puff of dry tobacco and said helplessly, "Okay. I already know. Remember to bring him to see me tomorrow. Also, can you knock on the door first next time you come? You make me so helpless." It seems that none of his three disciples is normal. Sometimes, the third generation is also very distressed about this. Is this his teaching problem? It shouldn't be. That's not necessary. Tsunade waved her hand and refused. It just so happens that Grandma is going to meet Qianzan tomorrow morning, and she asked me to say hello to you and ask you to go to her tomorrow morning. By then, you can just meet Qianzan, and I won't have to make an extra trip, right? This kind of thing should be omitted if it can be omitted. She is not interested in listening to the old man and Qianzan talking nonsense. Oh. The third generation heard this and looked at Tsunade in surprise and asked doubtfully, Mr. Mito is actually going to meet this Qianzan. Does he have another identity that I don't know? Speaking of which, with your personality, it is unlikely that you will suddenly test a student who has just enrolled in the ninja school. So, what is the identity of this child? Because the incident happened suddenly, although third generation had just learned about Tsunade's assessment of Qianzan through Anbu. After all, the noise during the previous assessment was quite loud, alarming Anbu nearby, who happened to observe it. But third generation really didn't have time to investigate Qianzan's identity. It's nothing special. After hearing this, Tsunade waved his hands carelessly and said, his grandfather is from the Senju clan, one of the first members to integrate into the common people of Konoha. He is considered a descendant of the third generation Senju. However, his grandfather died in the war a long time ago, and his parents also died in the war more than a year ago. He is just an ordinary orphan with good talents. Third generation heard the previous words and nodded understandingly, but when he heard the last part, he couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth slightly, and looked at Tsunade speechlessly. Just now Anbu reported to me the process of your assessment of him. With the talent this child has shown so far in ninjutsu, he is not just a little talented, he is extremely talented. To be honest, I'm a little tempted and want to accept him as my disciple. Why don't you, Tsunade, think about it? He meant it. Ha! After hearing this, Tsunade looked at third generation with a speechless expression, made an X gesture with both hands, and firmly refused. I refuse. It's not easy to be tempted to accept a disciple, but don't try to steal it from me. Besides, if the apprentice you promised turns into a junior disciple the next moment, what will happen? Therefore, she firmly opposed it. Is that so? After hearing this, third generation shook his head and said, forget it. I was a step too late. If you can't become my disciple, it's the same as becoming my disciple. In fact, third generation knew that the second reason Tsunade mentioned was the real reason for her refusal. As for whether she is a disciple or not, given Tsunade's character, she doesn't care that much. Because, Tsunade is actually a character who is afraid of trouble. Haha, this is right. After hearing this, Tsunade smiled happily and said, since I am your disciple, teacher, please remember to bring a greeting gift tomorrow. Don't be too shabby. Also, if you have time in the future, please remember to help me teach this kid Qianzan. I believe his talent will not let you down. The status was decided, and if third generation was still willing to teach, Tsunade would be happy to do so. After hearing this, third generation didn't know what to say to Tsunade. He shook his head helplessly and said, I know. I will consider the gift carefully. As for the teaching, let's talk about it later. It mainly depends on the value shown by Qianzan and his mood. Of course, third generation is not afraid of Qianzan just because he is a descendant of Senju. Not to this extent yet. Anyway, judging from the current situation of the Senju clan, it is basically a foregone conclusion that it will completely dissipate and integrate into the common people. When the next ninja war happens, he will secretly operate a wave and consume a wave of Senju's backbone. Senju's influence in Konoha will be almost over. When Uzumaki Mito passes away, Senju will become a thing of the past. At that time, his Sarutobi clan's real takeoff began. As for the Uchiha clan, he believed that with Danzo's efforts and the targeting and rejection of many ninja clans, it would only be a matter of time before his future would gradually disappear and he would not be able to pose a threat to the Sarutobi clan. However, Uchiha's Mangekyo Sharingan is a huge hidden danger. Therefore, third generation is not prepared to overstimulate Uchiha before it is absolutely sure. Instead, he would choose to boil the frog in warm water, weakening and forcing Uchiha step by step. Somewhere underground in Konoha, in the root base. Almost at the same time that third generation received the news, Danzo also received news about Tsunade's assessment of Qianzan from the root through Anbu. Where did this kid come from? He actually has such a talent. This son should join me at the root and become the person at the root of me. I need this kind of talent at my core. Hurry up and check his background. After reading the information, Danzo was shocked at first, and then ordered directly with his eyes shining. As for the information that Qianzan has been accepted as a disciple by Tsunade, it doesn't matter to Danzo. He has not yet taken a yellow-haired girl like Tsunade into his eyes. Yes, the root immediately took the order and left. By the time Danzo received Qianzan's detailed information, it was already several hours later. Only 5 years old. It takes no more than 2 weeks to refine chakra and practice ninjutsu. Is this kid so evil? I want this guy. After reading Qianzan's detailed information, Danzo was completely moved. But, this kid is actually a descendant of Senju. It's no wonder. I'm telling you. How could such a super genius appear among ordinary civilians? It's not surprising that he is a descendant of Senju. Qianzan's monster reminded him of his teacher Senju Tobarama. Danzo's eyes flashed. If this kid is trained properly, he might be able to become a second teacher. No, I have to find Hiruzen. This child cannot be left to Tsunade. That female gambler will only waste Qianzan's talents. Only I am qualified to teach him. Only I can teach him well. Thinking of his teacher, Danzo's ill will toward Qianzan was temporarily outweighed by his good feelings. I really have the idea of training him well. If I can train Qianzan to be a second teacher, does that mean I have surpassed the teacher? Danzo is a man of action, so he immediately left the root base, took some time to come to the Hokage office, and met the third generation. He went straight to the point. Hiruzen. I want that kid Qianzan. Leave him to me to train. This child's talent is no less than that of his teacher. Only I have the qualifications and ability to train him. Ha! After hearing this, third generation looked at Danzo in shock and speechlessness and said, Danzo, are you having a brain cramp? You suddenly came to me to tell me this. Let's not talk about Qianzan's talent. He is already Tsunade's disciple and my disciple. How can he be left to you to train him? Don't even think about it. Are you kidding me? Even if Qianzan had not been accepted as a disciple by Tsunade, third generation would not have agreed to hand over such a genius to Danzo for training. Isn't this cultivating enemies for yourself and increasing Danzo's strength? He's not stupid. Danzo was furious when he heard what third generation said. Hiruzen. No matter what, you must leave Qianzan to me to train. What qualifications does Tsunade have to teach him? She is just a medical ninja. Are you going to waste a genius? Third generation was also a little annoyed and said, no matter what you say, I won't agree. He is already Tsunade's disciple, how can he change it casually? Besides, even if Tsunade can't teach him, don't I still have him? I'm his master, so I'll just teach him when the time comes. Danzo, the roots are not suitable for Qianzan, and your style is even less suitable. This matter is not negotiable. You can go back. Although I don't know why Danzo suddenly went crazy and became so obsessed with Qianzan, it is impossible for third generation to agree. Danzo saw that third generation was failing, and he was so angry that he pointed at third generation and trembled all over. But third generation had firm eyes and a straight face, not giving in at all, which made Danzo both annoyed and helpless. It's frustrating. If he was the Hokage, why? Danzo immediately said angrily. Hiruzen, you will regret it. Third generation looked indifferent. Danzo. I am the Hokage. Snort. When Danzo heard this, he felt his heart was deeply stabbed again. He wanted to roar to the third generation. I know you are Hokage, I don't need you to remind me all the time. If I had taken a step forward and expressed my opinion to the teacher before you, I should have been the Hokage at this time. This is the eternal pain in Danzo's heart. He still regrets it to this day. He never felt that he was inferior to third generation. No, he even felt that he was far stronger than third generation. If it weren't for his help, would third generation have been able to maintain its position as Hokage all these years? Hiruzen, I won't give up. After saying these words, Danzo left angrily. Bada, bada. Third generation lit up the tobacco stick with a speechless expression, took a few puffs, and looked down at the information Anbu had just sent in his hand, which recorded detailed information about Qianzan from his birth to the present, including the fact that Qianzan extracted chakra and practiced ninjutsu for no more than 2 weeks. Third generation murmured firmly, such a genius cannot be handed over to you Danzo under any circumstances. He can only be under my control and can only become a member of my Hokage lineage. Danzo can see that Qianzan's potential is no less than that of his teacher Senju Tobarama. Can't third generation see that? If I had known this earlier, I would have snatched Qianzan away from Tsunade. Third generation thought. After all, disciples and grandchildren are not as close as disciples. But it's okay. The best thing I can do is get closer to him from now on, teach him more, guide him more, and make him become my loyal supporter. Third generation thought in his mind. In terms of brainwashing ability, he thinks he is a professional. In a ninja shop in Konaha. Boss, give me a detonating talisman, the lowest level space sealing scroll. Okay, please wait a moment. Come, sir, here are the detonating talisman and space seal scroll you want. Chungwei has a total of 10,300 taels. However, these things are very dangerous. Remember to be careful when using them. The boss handed a detonating talisman to the 5-year-old child opposite and reminded him with concern. Understood. Here are 10,300 taels. Qianzan nodded, took the detonating talisman and the space seal scroll, paid the money, and left the shop directly. At the same time, the system prompt sounded in my mind. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, detonating talisman. Rewards. Detailed instructions for making the detonating talisman and a complete collection of elementary sealing techniques. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, low-level space seal scroll. Reward. Personal small world and space props refining method. ... Personal portable world, a complete portable world with an initial diameter of 1 kilometer, 4-season climate change, and day and night changes. It can grow by filling it with items with spatial attributes. This reward is developed. Qianzan almost jumped up with joy when he received the information about this reward. Even though he tried his best to suppress the joy in his heart with his strong will, the corners of his mouth were still slightly raised. Not to mention other things, just having this small world with you is infinitely valuable. The key is that this thing can continue to grow. I'm developed. With this portable little world, my safety will be greatly guaranteed in the future. Hee. Qianzan thought happily. Of course, in addition to this personal small world, the space props refining method is also extremely precious. This means that Qianzan can mass-produce space equipment by himself in the future. This thing is permanent, much stronger than a one-time or several-time space sealing scroll. Immediately, Qianzan didn't care about buying other things and returned home immediately. System, collect all rewards. The next moment, Qianzan felt an extra round bead appear in the sea of consciousness, which seemed like an illusion and seemed real. At the same time, a large amount of knowledge and information about the production of detonating symbols, primary sealing techniques, production of space props, etc. were poured into his mind. As soon as he has an idea and touches the ball, he can sense everything in the so-called personal small world, and he can control almost everything in the small world, including dividing the space within it, etc. Then, he tried to enter this small world. The next moment, he appeared in a world full of black soil and blue sky. It seems that we have to move some plants inside. In addition, this can be used as my safest secret base in the future, and many things can be stored here. At the same time, I can also build a house here to live in, experiment, practice, etc. when necessary. Qianzan touched his chin and looked at this small world, thinking. The information given by the system can be introduced. Although this small world seems to be in his sea of consciousness, it is actually located in the dimensional space and anchors the coordinates of his sea of consciousness. After his true body enters here, there will be no beads outside. Qianzan didn't stay in the small world for long and came out soon. Then, he reviewed the detailed instructions for making the detonating talisman in his mind. Is there more than one kind of detonating talisman? With this, it will be very easy for me to make detonating talismans. Perhaps, I can take time out to make some detonating charms every day. Whether it is for sale or stored for use at critical moments, it is a good choice. Qianzan thought to himself. It's still too slow to make money simply by getting bounties from tasks. He already has plans in mind, and he will definitely study various ninjutsu, blood succession limits, and so on in the future. Those require a lot of money. Then, Qianzan looked through the encyclopedia of elementary sealing techniques in his mind. Because, with the bonus of top-level sealing skills talent and quick learning talent, these basic sealing skills knowledge is as simple as 1 + 1 in his opinion. Just by going through it once, you have already gained a lot. This thing will be of great help to me in mastering advanced sealing techniques. In addition, it seems to be helpful in making and improving the detonating talisman technology. Maybe I can develop a fully automatic detonating talisman making machine in the future. Qianzan thought divergently. This is a good note. He also saw the final method of making space props, which is relatively advanced and requires time to learn and master in depth. At the same time, the material requirements are very high. For the time being, he does not have the appropriate venue and materials, so he has to postpone it. Qianzan, are you at home? At this time, Minato's slightly excited voice came from outside the house. Here I am. Qianzan responded immediately and walked out of the house quickly. Seeing Minato standing in the yard with a bright smile on his face, Qianzan raised his eyebrows and joked, "Looking at you smiling so happily, it seems that Master Jiraiya has accepted you as his disciple." Hey, yes. Minato rubbed the back of his head and nodded happily. My performance is quite satisfactory, Mr. Jiraiya, so he accepted me as his disciple. Qianzan, now we all have good teachers. I believe our strength will improve faster in the future. To be honest, Minato also had a sense of urgency and uneasiness because Qianzan frequently analyzed the darkness and dangers in the village for him. This was one of the reasons why he worked so hard to improve his strength. Now, with Jiraiya as his teacher, he can finally breathe a little easier. Of course, this does not mean that he will slack off in his cultivation. It's just that I can face these things with a more relaxed attitude. That's true. Qianzan smiled and nodded, and encouraged Minato, then let's work hard together. Strive to be able to protect ourselves as soon as possible and do what we want to do. Are you hungry? Why don't you start cooking? Okay, now that you say it, I'm really hungry. Over here at the Hokage office. Yo, old man. Third generation watched Jiraiya climb in from the window, and couldn't help but twitching at the corner of his eyes, and sighed helplessly, hey. Can't you just take the right path? Why does everyone appear in such a weird way? Quote. I didn't teach you to do this either. There are so many problem children. Hey. Jiraiya listened and smiled carelessly. Old man, this is not important. Why do you care about so many rules? Ninjas should be free. Third generation couldn't help but roll his eyes after hearing this. Ninjas should abide by the rules. Forget it. I'm too lazy to tell you this, so what are you doing here at this time? Normally you shouldn't be in the hot springs at this time collecting materials from the street. While speaking, third generation couldn't help but glance at the crystal ball he placed on the table. His fingers moved unconsciously, and his heart moved. But in the end, I held back for the time being. Hey, isn't this something serious? Jiraiya listened, smiled, and then said with a slightly straightened expression, I just came to report to you, old man, that I have a new disciple. The third generation was stunned after hearing this, and asked in surprise, what day is today? Why did you also accept a disciple? Haha, it seems Tsunade has already arrived. Jiraiya listened to Ichiraku and explained, actually, the reason is still because of Tsunade. It's not that she took Orochimaru and I to go to the ninja school today. In the end, she took us to check out two young geniuses. She even asked us if we wanted to take on a disciple. In the end, Orochimaru wasn't interested, so Tsunade and I accepted one each. Of course, after passing the examination, I am quite satisfied with that kid Minato. It's true that in terms of talent, Minato can't compare to that brat Qianzan. But it's not bad at all. I think Minato has Hokage qualifications. Although Qianzan behaves very evilly, but for some reason, Jiraiya likes Minato more. Not only because of his personality and warm smile, but also because Minato is relatively normal. Students who are too talented are actually not a good thing. Because, if you teach like that, not only will you not achieve any success as a teacher, I am afraid that you will continue to be hit. At least, that brat Qianzan mastered several advanced ninjutsu in a few days, and he didn't have the ability to improve these ninjutsu and make them look fancy. I can tell you are really happy with this kid named Minato. After hearing this, third generation nodded in understanding and thought, did Tsunade introduce it? So, this child should also be a Senju descendant, right? Jiraiya listened and nodded affirmatively. I heard what Tsunade said. In addition, Minato is also an orphan. He grew up with Qianzan. The two have a good relationship. They often work hard to practice together. They are both good. Child. Okay, I understand. The third generation listened and nodded. It's a good thing that you are willing to accept disciples. In this way, the three of you will also have disciples, and my lineage will be considered to be spreading. In this case, you can go to Mito-sama's place for him tomorrow morning. It just so happens that Mr. Mito is going to see me and Qianzan tomorrow morning, so we might as well come together. He had thought about not letting Minato have contact with Uzumaki Mito, lest he get too involved with Senju. He still knows Jiraiya. Although this guy is often unreliable, his vision is still good. Then since Minato can be favored by him, his talent must not be bad. But in the end he gave up. Judging from the Whirlpool Mito's attitude towards Qianzan and the relationship between Qianzan and Minato. Sooner or later, Minato will come into contact with Uzumaki Mito and be trained by Senju's resources. There is no need for you to be a villain in vain. That would easily lead to estrangement. Is that so? It seems that Master Mito values that kid Qianzan very much. Jiraiya was a little surprised when he heard this, and then nodded. Okay. I understand. That's it. I'm leaving first. With that said, Jiraiya went straight to the window again, and turned over and climbed out of the window under the silent gaze of the third generation. Early the next morning, Qianzan, little devil. Are you up? Give a squeak when you are up. Qianzan and Minato were having breakfast when they heard shouts from outside the yard. The two looked at each other, and Qianzan immediately stood up and walked out, while responding, "Here he is." Then, he quickly opened the courtyard door, and found that not only Tsunade, but also Jiraiya came with him. He was a little surprised and said, "Teacher Tsunade. Master Jiraiya is here too. Have you had breakfast? Why don't you come in and have something to eat?" "Oh," Tsunade raised his eyebrows in surprise, "are you already having breakfast? It seems you got up very early." "But no need. We all drank. Ahem, eat it. Hurry up and follow me to meet someone." Qianzan curled his lips after hearing this. If he hadn't smelled the strong smell of alcohol from Tsunade, he would have believed it. Meeting someone, Qianzan was a little surprised and curious, wondering who Tsunade was going to take him to see. It shouldn't be third generation, otherwise Tsunade would have just said it. So, is it Uzumaki Mito? Qianzan guessed this in his mind, and then said to Tsunade, "That's no problem. But have you forgotten that school starts today and we still have to go to school?" After hearing this, Tsunade couldn't help but rolled his eyes and said, "Don't talk nonsense. Isn't your boy's shadow clone technique very good? He deceived me yesterday. You can just send a shadow clone over to the school." Quote, "Stop talking nonsense. Hurry, you little kid Minato in the house, please come out quickly." "Yes, I'm coming." When Minato heard Tsunade's shout, he ran out quickly and greeted Tsunade and Jiraiya respectfully. "I've met Tsunade-sama, hello, Mr. Jiraiya." "Haha, no need to be so polite." Jiraiya smiled heartily and said, "Let's go. Minato, come with me. I will take you to meet someone today, and by the way, meet Master Third Hokage. By the way, do you know the shadow clone technique? If so, let's get a shadow clone to go to school instead of you." Yes, Minato naturally had no objection. He learned the shadow clone technique from Qianzan and immediately created a shadow clone. Then he looked at Qianzan. Qianzan shrugged, raised his hand to form a seal, and also created a shadow clone, and said to the shadow clone, "The school will leave it to you. Learn." Shadow clone Qianzan nodded, and then greeted shadow clone Minato, "Let's go." "Good." Immediately, the two shadow clones dodged and left here. "Let's go too." Seeing this, Tsunade called Qianzan, Minato and others, and spent a few minutes arriving at a core courtyard of the Senju tribe. He opened the door and walked in. Qianzan and Minato directly saw third generation and a kind old lady, aunt. Qianzan was sure that the aunt's blood red hair was Uzumaki Mito. But Uzumaki Mito's youth was beyond his expectation. He looks like he is in his 30s. If it weren't for the vicissitudes of life in her eyes that didn't belong to her appearance, Qianzan would have almost thought she was really a young man. Did 100 healings mark bring any effect? It was unexpected but not unexpected. Qianzan thought to himself. What rewards can I get if I get the 100 healings mark? Grandma, teacher, I'm bringing Qianzan and Namikaze Minato here. Tsunade was the first to speak, first introducing Qianzan and Minato, and then introducing Qianzan and Minato. Qianzan. Minato, this is Lord Third Hokage, and this is my grandma, Lord Uzumaki Mito, who is also my grandfather. First Hokage's wife. I've met Lord Third Hokage, I've met Lord Mito. Qianzan and Minato listened and quickly bowed respectfully. Yeah, they are indeed good kids. Third generation and Uzumaki Mito looked at the two of them and nodded with satisfaction. Not to mention anything else, at this age, these two children already had such an amount of chakra within 2 weeks of extracting chakra, which is really good. My physical strength seems to be okay, and my mental outlook is also good. His eyes are firm, neither humble nor arrogant. Teacher, there's a gift. At this time, Tsunade winked at third generation and directly reminded him. Third generation, can I still have this apprentice? He shook his head dumbfounded and said, yeah. You don't have to remind me in such a hurry. I brought it. With that said, he took out 2 scrolls from his arms and handed them to Qianzan and Minato respectively. Come. This is a meeting gift for you as the master. I hope you like it. Qianzan and Minato saw this, looked at each other, and then looked at their teacher. The old man gave it to you, just take it. He's got this. Tsunade waved his hands carelessly. Agree. Jiraiya also smiled and nodded. At the same time, he secretly gave Tsunade a thumbs up, well done. He actually forgot about it. Fortunately, Tsunade was prepared. Indeed, as a Hokage, my teacher's wool is neither white nor gray. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Now that Tsunade and Jiraiya had expressed their opinions, Qianzan and Minato were naturally not polite and stepped forward to take the scroll from third generation. However, the two did not open it for the time being, but took it into their arms first. But at this time, the system prompt sounded in Qianzan's mind. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, lightning style earth walking, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Tisk, a lightning style ninjutsu. It's not bad. Qianzan has some contempt for third generation stinginess, but has no dissatisfaction. If someone gives you something, it's generous, but if you don't, it doesn't really matter. Rewards and other things have indeed been greatly reduced. Next, third generation and Mito chatted with Qianzan and Minato, asking them about their past life and their thoughts on some issues. Half an hour later, third generation stood up and said goodbye. That's about it for today's chat. You two are indeed very good. Let's learn from your teacher. With that said, third generation looked at Uzumaki Mito again and said, Master Mito, if there is nothing else, I will leave first. Uzumaki Mito did not hold back, and today he called third generation to stand up for Qianzan and Minato. She immediately warned the third generation. I guess you also know that Qianzan and Minato are both descendants of my Senju clan who integrated into the common people, and they are both orphans. Although the Senju clan is almost dispersed. But there is still some foundation left. I don't want anything bad to happen to them. Besides, they are all your disciples now. I hope you can protect them and not let some people with ulterior motives affect them. Do you understand? Although Uzumaki Mito did not directly name him, third generation knew that the person with ulterior motives mentioned by Uzumaki Mito was undoubtedly Danzo. He was fine with that. In itself, he also hopes that Danzo will reach out to Qianzan and Minato. If these two people are well cultivated, they will become his core fans in the future. However, Uzumaki Mito's emphasis on Qianzan and Minato was a little beyond third generation's expectations. But considering Naoki's existence, he can understand. Mito-sama is arranging the future path for Naoki and adding helpers. It's not a big problem. Anyway, that kid Naoki is easy to fool. He doesn't pose a threat to me or the Sarutobi clan. These thoughts flashed through third generation's mind, and he immediately nodded and responded, I've taken note of it. I will eliminate those interferences for them, and they will not be affected by bad influences before they grow up. Quote. Uzumaki Mito nodded with satisfaction. That's enough. Go ahead. Yes, then I'll take my leave. Qianzan, Minato, if you have anything to do in the future, you can always come to me at the Hokage building. Let's go. Before third generation left, they did not forget to say a few words to Qianzan and Minato, and then left quickly. After the third generation left, Uzumaki Mito looked at Jiraiya again and said, Jiraiya, I still have something to talk to Qianzan and Minato alone, so you should go back first. Yes, Jiraiya was slightly stunned after hearing this. then quickly nodded in agreement, waved to Minato, and left quickly. After he walked away, Uzumaki Mito looked at Qianzan and Minato and looked at them carefully several times. Qianzan, who has silver hair and red eyes, really looks a bit like Senju Tobirama. However, Qianzan's personality seems to be different from Senju Tobirama's, more cheerful and easygoing. Senju Tobirama basically keeps a straight face. In the eyes of Uzumaki Mito, the child Namikaze Minato is more like her husband Senju Hashirama. Personality and approachability. They are all very friendly and warm-hearted characters at first glance. Chakra feels the same way. Although Qianzan's chakra also has a warm feeling, it is not lacking in sharpness. Two very interesting little guys. Don't be nervous. Everyone, please sit down first. Seeing that Qianzan and Minato were a little reserved, Uzumaki Mito smiled gently, asked Qianzan and Minato to sit down opposite her, and then continued chatting with Qianzan and Minato. After more than half an hour, Mito got to the point and asked, "Since the third generation has given you a meeting gift, I, as the elder, am no exception. Let's talk about it. What do you want? As long as it's too much, I agree. If it's a ninjutsu, it can be limited to 5 or less, S level or below. It's not that I don't want to give it to you if I'm S level, but you are too young now, and both the amount of chakra and the understanding of chakra are far from reaching the standards for mastering S level ninjutsu. In fact, if it weren't for Qianzan and Minato, both Qianzan and Minato have shown great talent in ninjutsu training, especially Qianzan. Even B-level ninjutsu was mastered in a very short period of time, and Mito even planned to limit the gifts to A-level and below. Qianzan and Minato heard this suddenly. Although they were surprised, they really didn't think about it for a while. Uzumaki Mito saw the hesitation between the two of them, and immediately smiled. "Don't worry, you can think about it slowly, or you can discuss it with me. It is not mandatory." "Thank you Mito-sama." Qianzan and Minato heard this and immediately thanked them. "Just call me Grandma. We are all a family, no need for adults, just call me Grandma." Uzumaki Mito waved his hand to get closer. "Grandma Mito." Quote. Qianzan and Minato followed suit and immediately shouted sweetly. "Anyway, if you shout, you won't lose a piece of meat." Strictly speaking, Uzumaki Mito is indeed their elder. Then, Qianzan began to think deeply. Currently, he has 1 or 2 ninjutsu in 3 series, thunder, water, and earth. There are those for attack, defense and even control. However, he also saw in the previous battle with Tsunade that he still lacked the decisive attack type and high destructive ninjutsu. In addition, if possible, he actually wants wind and fire ninjutsu to see if the first-time winner of these 2 ninjutsus can also develop the corresponding top attribute affinity talents. If he could, then he could easily make up for the fire and wind attributes he lacked and become a 5-attribute talented ninja. As for the wind element, Minato has it. Minato will also be exposed to the fire element in the future. There is no need to spend the quota to exchange with Grandma Mito. When the time comes, just copy a copy from Minato. I believe he will not refuse. Qianzan thought in his heart. After all, he had previously taught the Minato Senju chakra refining technique and the shadow clone technique, as well as the lightning style thunderball technique. That's right, Minato didn't have the Senju chakra refining technique before. Apparently his parents and elders didn't stay in the past, and I don't know what happened. It was probably because of some accident, or because he died too hastily and didn't have time to stay. Qianzan's thoughts soon became clear, and he immediately raised his head and said to Mito, "Grandma Mito. I heard that Master Second Hokage is very powerful in water style." Oh, when Uzumaki Mito heard this, he looked at Qianzan's hair color and eye color that looked like Senju Tobirama, and smiled knowingly. "You can choose. Yes, Tobirama's water style is very powerful, but I still can't let you choose at the moment. S-class water style. Although, Tobirama's water style, S-class is the essence. You can choose from water styles below S rank. Of course, I can promise you that you can come to me when you have mastered the nature transformation and form changes of the water attribute chakra, and the amount of chakra reaches the Jonin standard. When the time comes, Grandma, I can give you all the water style ninjutsu left by Tobirama, how about that?" She was still very optimistic about Qianzan and left him a motivational goal. Really, that's a deal. Qianzan was overjoyed after hearing this and couldn't wait to finalize the matter. Haha, you little naughty boy, are you still worried that Grandma and I will regret it? Uzumaki Mito reached out and knocked Qianzan on the head angrily, and then said, okay. Tell me your choice. Qianzan immediately said, I choose water-style water barrier, water-severing wave, great waterfall technique, and earth-style earth spear technique, and illusion fox heart technique, Grandma Mito, all of these, right? Certainly. Uzumaki Mito nodded affirmatively, looked to Tsunade aside and ordered, Tsunade, go get these 5 ninjutsu scrolls. Receive. Tsunade immediately stood up and walked into the inner room. Uzumaki Mito looked at Qianzan with a smile and said, you are good at choosing. Earth-style earth spear technique is relatively unpopular. There are not many people who master this technique. You actually know it, which makes me a little surprised. You will probably learn Kylie Fist from Tsunade next. This ninjutsu is good for close combat. In addition, I'm not worried about you in terms of water style, but you probably haven't been exposed to genjutsu. This kind of ninjutsu involves spiritual aspects. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me, or you can also ask your teacher Tsunade. Don't mess around. Do you know? There is still a certain danger in the practice of illusion. It mainly involves the mental aspect. If you are not careful, big problems can easily occur. Aha, Qianzan listened and nodded repeatedly, I took note of it. Thank you, Grandma Mito. The concern for Uzumaki Mito is heartwarming. Having such elders and backers makes me feel at ease. Maybe I have to think of a way to see if I can buy life-extending items to extend Grandma Mito's life. Qianzan even thought so in his heart. Not only was he moved by Uzumaki Mito's behavior. It's also because as long as Uzumaki Mito doesn't die for a day, 3rd generation and Danzo will have to be more restrained in their treatment of them. Little Minato, have you thought about it? At this time, Uzumaki Mito looked at Minato aside and asked. Minato listened and nodded affirmatively. Grandma Mito, I want 3 wind-style ninjutsu and 2 fire-style ninjutsu. I don't know the specifics. Can you help me choose? His understanding of ninjutsu is far less than Qianzan's, so it is naturally impossible for him to have such a clear goal as Qianzan. Is that so? After hearing this, Uzumaki Mito nodded understandingly, pondered for a moment and said, first, let's talk about the ninjutsu you have mastered so far. Also, take a look at what ninjutsu the 3rd generation just gave you. Yes. Minato quickly took out the ninjutsu scroll sent by the 3rd generation from his arms, opened it and saw that it was AB level fire-style Haoyan technique. It is the fire-style Haoyan technique. In addition, the ninjutsu I currently master are shadow clone technique and wind-style Fen Chi technique. Speaking of this, Minato also felt a little embarrassed. Compared with Qianzan, the pervert, he is indeed a little shabby in ninjutsu. But he feels that he has worked very hard. It has only been 2 or 3 days, and it is not easy to master 2 ninjutsu at the same time. So, sometimes he doesn't understand why Qianzan is so awesome. He is simply not a human being. Of course, he is not extremely Qianzan, and he is even very grateful to Qianzan. If Qianzan hadn't taught him chakra control training such as climbing trees and treading water first, it would be impossible for him to master shadow clone technique and wind-style Feng Qi technique in just 3 days. Oh, great flame technique. This is one of the Sarutobi clan's signature fire styles. It seems that the 3rd generation still values you very much. Uzumaki Mito smiled knowingly, and then said to Minato, then I will give you wind-style great breakthrough, wind-style vacuum sphere, wind-style vacuum wave, these 3 wind-style ninjutsu, plus great fireball technique and great dragon fire technique. These 2 fire-style ninjutsu are one of Uchiha's signature fire styles. They are both very powerful. I hope you will learn them well. Yes, Minato immediately expressed his gratitude excitedly. Thank you, Grandma Mito. Qianzan on the side was also very happy. He didn't have any of these 5 ninjutsu, so he could copy one from Minato to collect it later. Even if the wind and fire attributes cannot be activated, I think you can get a lot of rewards. Tap, tap, tap. At this time, Tsunade came out holding 5 scrolls and handed them to Qianzan, saying, here. This is the ninjutsu you want. Master it as soon as possible. Starting tomorrow, remember to come to the ninja hospital. You still have to learn medical ninjutsu from me. I hope you can keep up with my progress. Hehe, otherwise. Seeing Tsunade's devilish expression of gloating, Qianzan shuddered slightly, and quickly took the ninjutsu scroll and Kaido. Don't worry, I will keep up. Hehe, I'm looking forward to it. Tsunade narrowed her eyes and smiled. She also wanted to see where Qianzan's limit was and whether he had any talent for medical ninjutsu. At the same time, the system prompt sounded in Qianzan's mind. Congratulations host for obtaining the ordinary collection, water style water barrier, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels. Closing square bracket. Congratulations host, water style water severing wave, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels. Congratulations to host, water style great waterfall technique, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host, illusion fox heart technique, reward, top yin dun affinity, top illusion talent. Congratulations to host, earth style earth spear technique, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Wow, an illusionist actually got 2 top talents. Qianzan was also surprised by this reward, thinking, with this top yin dun affinity, won't my mental power skyrocket? The talent for developing and controlling yin dun will also reach its peak. Great. Of course, the top illusion talent is also very good. It's a pity that I haven't obtained the Sharingan blood inheritance. Otherwise, with this top-notch illusion talent, my illusion skills will probably explode. Qianzan thought with some regret. He already had a rough idea on how to obtain the Sharingan blood inheritance. Is it nothing more than getting a pair of Sharingan to collect, or simply collecting a corpse of the Uchiha clan? There is definitely no chance of such a thing now. I guess we have to wait until the second ninja war begins. Qianzan thought to himself. On the chaotic battlefield, it shouldn't be too difficult to get 1 or 2 corpses of the Uchiha clan if you work carefully. Especially if he has a small world. This day is not far away. According to the memories of past lives, the second ninja war actually broke out roughly between Konoha 32 and Konoha 37. It is Konoha's 29th year. There are still almost 3 years left. You have to seize these few years to grow up, and at least upgrade your strength to elite Jonin or even Kage level to ensure your own safety. Qianzan thought in his mind. Tsunade, go and get a copy of the 5 ninjutsu scrolls of wind style, vacuum wave, and give it to little Minato. At this time, Uzumaki Mito ordered Tsunade. Ah, okay. Although Tsunade found it troublesome, he turned around and went into the house. After spending a while, he fetched 5 ninjutsu scrolls again and handed them to Minato. Thank you, Grandma Mito, thank you Tsunade-sama. Minato thanked him profusely. You're welcome, just practice hard. Tsunade waved his hand, then rolled his eyes and looked at Uzumaki Mito and asked, Grandma, is everything okay? I'll go out if nothing happens. There's something else going on at the hospital. After hearing this, Uzumaki Mito looked at Tsunade funny and said, what's wrong with the hospital and I don't know about you? Forget it, it's up to you. I'll be here first today. As she said that, she looked at Minato and Qianzan and said, Grandma's house is your home. You are welcome to visit us often in the future, no matter what happens. Of course, you can also ask me about ninjutsu and spiritual practice. Grandma is welcome, you know. Now that he's older, he really likes to see his juniors in the game. Aha, Qianzan and Minato nodded repeatedly, I understand. Grandma Mito, let's say goodbye first. Okay, go. Uzumaki Mito nodded kindly. Qianzan and Minato left the Senju tribe under the leadership of Tsunade. As soon as he came out, Tsunade waved his hands to the 2 of them and said, okay. You can go. Bye. After saying that, Tsunade glared at Jiraiya who was licking his face and smiling, and left quickly. Hey. Jiraiya smiled happily, then looked at the several ninjutsu scrolls held by Qianzan and Minato, and joked, it seems that Master Mito attaches great importance to you. You have gained a lot from this trip. Having said this, Jiraiya put away his playful smile again, suddenly looked serious, and warned, however, you must remember to bite off more than you can chew. Don't try to learn all the ninjutsu at once. Pick one or two to master first. Let's talk about quantity, understand? This is all based on his experience. At the same time, he was also very emotional. This is the benefit of having a background one. I don't think he had learned so much ninjutsu back then. Of course, he was already very lucky. He was accepted as a disciple by third generation right after graduation. Well, at this time, Minato looked at his teacher with some hesitation, pointed to Qianzan on the side and said, "Teacher. This does not seem to be true for Qianzan. He learns things very quickly. He can also draw inferences from one example and make improvements. Jiraiya. This is very embarrassing. Fortunately, one of the great advantages of Jiraiya is his thick skin. Except this kid." He immediately suppressed his embarrassment, waved his hand, and then said to Qianzan, "You are a special case, so you can do whatever you want. Anyway, you are Tsunade's apprentice. If you have any questions, just go to Tsunade." Then Jiraiya looked at Minato and said, "Minato, although you have good talent, in terms of ninjutsu, you are obviously not as evil as Qianzan, so you should follow the teacher's instructions." Okay. Minato naturally has no objection. Jiraiya did this for his own good. He also felt that it was not worthwhile for him to spend a lot of time to fully master these ninjutsu. In the short term, the best way to improve your strength is to first grandmaster 2 or 3 ninjutsu and deeply cultivate one type of chakra form change and nature transformation. Regarding the morphological changes of chakra and the importance of nature transformation, Qianzan analyzed it with him yesterday. He has always remembered it. Very good. Let's go. I'm happy today. How about I treat you to barbecue? Jiraiya greeted the two cheerfully. Really? That's great. Thank you, Mr. Jiraiya. Minato and Qianzan quickly followed excitedly. You know, Konoha's barbecue restaurants are extremely expensive. They were reluctant to go before. Hey. Qianzan, kid, is calling me uncle too much. I'm only 19 years old. I'm very young. Even if you don't call me Jiraiya-sama or senior, you should call me brother. What the hell is uncle? Quote. Ha ha ha. Quote. ... After returning from the barbecue restaurant, Minato and Qianzan returned directly to Qianzan's home. Qianzan said to Minato, "Minato, I have something to ask you." Minato was a little confused when he saw that Qianzan was rarely so solemn, but he asked seriously, "What is it?" You said, "With our relationship, as long as I can do it, it's no problem." It's nothing else. Qianzan felt warm after hearing this, and immediately said, "I am also very interested in wind-style ninjutsu and fire-style ninjutsu. Can I copy these ninjutsu from you? Of course, I have some here, and I can also give you a copy of the ninjutsu you are interested in. Not to mention anything else, at least we all have the lightning attribute." Although Minato was a little surprised when he heard this, he nodded and agreed, "That's no problem. I can do it. Here, all the ninjutsu scrolls one got today are here. Also, I'll go home later to get the ninjutsu scroll of wind-style functionary technique." But, speaking of this, Minato admonished with some hesitation, "Qianzan, although your ninjutsu talent is very evil, I still hope you can grasp the appropriateness. I've heard that if you don't have the chakra attribute, practicing other ninjutsu of the corresponding type will get twice the result with half the effort. Don't waste your time on these. Just do a little research. If you find that it affects your cultivation progress, remember to stop in time, okay? If you don't agree to this, then I can't copy these ninjutsu scrolls to you. I don't want you to be harmed because of me." Seeing Minato's extremely serious expression, Qianzan felt warm in his heart. He immediately chuckled and said, "Okay. Don't you know about me? I won't do stupid things. If I really want to do what you said, I will stop it in time. Besides, we practice together almost every day. Aren't you still watching?" "Yeah too." After hearing this, Minato touched the back of his head and felt that it made sense. He pushed the ninjutsu scroll in front of him to Qianzan and stood up and said, "Here. It's all for you. Copy it as soon as possible. I'll go back and get the wind first. Cut techniques ninjutsu scroll." After saying that, Minato left quickly. Qianzan didn't waste any time, ran to the study and took out a few blank ninjutsu scrolls and pen and ink, and immediately started copying them. It's a pity that there is no copying ninjutsu, otherwise we wouldn't have to go to such trouble. While copying, Qianzan complained in a low voice. During the copying process, his mind was also running rapidly, learning and analyzing these ninjutsu, and he soon had a certain understanding of these ninjutsu. After he finished copying them all, he felt that he had initially mastered these ninjutsu. The specifics will only be known after it is used. Here, Minato, return the originals to you. When Qianzan returned the originals to Minato and picked up his copied ninjutsu scrolls, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, Fire Style Haoyangwo Technique, reward, top fire attribute affinity. Congratulations to host, Wind Style Great Breakthrough, reward, top wind attribute affinity. Congratulations to host, Fire Style Great Fireball Technique, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host, Fire Style Haolong Fire Technique, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host, Wind Style Vacuum Sphere, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host, Wind Style Vacuum Wave, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host, Wind Style Fengqi Technique, reward, chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Haha, sure enough, it's done. Qianzan felt so happy when he saw the first two prompts. If Minato wasn't still here, he would have even jumped up and shouted. Now, my 5 attributes have been completed. Even my yin escape talent has reached the top level, and I only need the yang escape talent. Once you get Senju or Whirlpool Sage Body, your yang escape talent should also be maxed out, right? Qianzan thought to himself. System. Receive all rewards. The next moment, streams of warmth flowed from the center of his eyebrows throughout Qianzan's body, and he felt extremely comfortable. When the warm current passed, he could clearly feel that his cell vitality had more than doubled. At the same time, his mind became clear for a while, and he clearly felt that his thinking was more active and faster. Moreover, the mental power has more than doubled. In addition, his fine control of mental power has also improved many times. I also have more ideas and understanding of fire style and wind style ninjutsu. If he hadn't always activated his aura concealment talent, Minato on the side would have noticed his changes no matter how slow he was. Of course, he won't hide all his aura forever. At least, in terms of vitality and chakra, he will gradually reveal part of it. Let his growth trajectory become more normal and reasonable. To avoid the attention of some interested people. System, open the properties panel. Host, Qianzan. Talent, slightly, 5 attribute affinity top level top ceiling talent, breath concealment, top yin escape affinity, top illusion talent. Blood successor, Senju blood successor, extremely incomplete, affected by the top water and soil attribute affinity talent, purified and completed. Chakra attributes water, earth, thunder, wind, fire, yin. Physique, 79, normal adult genin is 10. Chakra, 340, potential 790. Ninjutsu, slightly. Fire style Haoyangwo technique. Items detailed explanation of making detonating talisman, complete collection of elementary sealing techniques, personal portable small world, refining method of space props. I will practice the chakra refining technique well in the next few days and fully realize my potential as soon as possible. By then, my chakra will be upgraded to the Chunin level, although I am still almost at the bottom among the Chunin. By then, there won't be such a shortage of chakra. Qianzan thought to himself. In this way, he will have more chakra to practice ninjutsu every day. It's still early, why don't you go practice? Qianzan calmed down the thoughts in his mind and said to Minato. Okay, I haven't finished my daily practice today. If you don't tell me, I'm going to tell you. Let's go. Minato naturally couldn't ask for it. Immediately, the two packed up the ninjutsu scrolls and set off to the secret training base. They first completed the daily physical training before starting to practice ninjutsu. Early the next morning, Minato, I'll go to the ninja hospital to find Mr. Tsunade first. Do you plan to continue using shadow clone to go to school and practice as a body, or go to school directly as a body? Qianzan finished his breakfast and asked Minato while forming a shadow clone. Minato thought for a moment. Kaido, I'd better use shadow clone to go to school. The effect is the same anyway. Besides, my talent is not as good as yours, so I can only spend more time trying to catch up with you. I won't lose to you. Minato raised his fist, and then formed a shadow clone. This time, without Qianzan and Minato's orders, their shadow clone consciously rushed to the ninja school together. Qianzan, Minato. The two looked at each other, and Qianzan said amusedly, they are really tacitly obedient. They don't even need to give orders. Yes, let's go, let's go. Immediately, the two set off and separated at the street entrance. Minato went to the secret training base, while Qianzan went straight to the ninja hospital. Excuse me, sister, where is Tsunade-sensei? Qianzan walked into the lobby, looked around, then walked to the front desk and asked a young lady who looked to be in her 20s. After hearing this, the young lady was slightly startled. She looked at Qianzan in surprise and said warily, Teacher Tsunade. Are you Master Tsunade's disciple? Why haven't I heard of it? Has Master Tsunade accepted a disciple? If it weren't for Qianzan's young age, she would have called someone else. Who knows if he is a spy? Okay. Qianzan nodded affirmatively. I just received it the day before yesterday. If you don't believe it, just let me know. By the way, my name is Qianzan. That's it. Then let me report it. The young lady couldn't be sure for a moment, so she immediately nodded to her colleagues and quickly left the lobby. She ran to Tsunade's office on the second floor to find Tsunade and reported Qianzan's situation. Tsunade-sama, is that kid really your disciple? Tsunade nodded affirmatively and said, they are the disciples I took in 2 days ago. I forgot to tell you. You can inform other people in the hospital later, and there is no need to inform him when he comes to me in the future. By the way, help me bring the boy over. Yes, Tsunade-sama, I'm going right now. After saying that, the young lady left quickly. After a while, he returned to the first floor. After greeting him, he brought Qianzan to Tsunade's office and announced, this is it. Mr. Tsunade, I have brought you. Okay, go and do your work first. Yes, the young lady immediately left quickly to convey the news that Tsunade had accepted a disciple. Teacher, Qianzan greeted Tsunade. Tsunade continued to work on the documents in his hands. At the same time, he nodded slightly and pointed at the hundreds of books on the bookshelf beside him. He said to Qianzan, in the next 3 months, you will first read these techniques. Let's talk about it later. After hearing this, Qianzan was stunned for a moment, turned to look at the wall of books, his eyes shone slightly and said, really? Chapter 21. Oh, as if the glance at Qianzan's expression did not turn out as she expected, Tsunade immediately stopped what she was doing. He raised his head, looked at Qianzan with some surprise, and asked curiously, you are not puzzled or unwilling. In fact, I can see excitement and desire in your eyes. Are you sure you're normal? When a normal 5-year-old kid hears that he has to read more than 100 medical books within 3 months, shouldn't he show resistance and collapse? After hearing this, Qianzan smiled, spread his hands and said, how many people can't ask for so much knowledge? Not to mention people from other villages, even in Konaha, there are countless people who want to learn but can't learn. Isn't it normal for me to be happy? Tsunade, that makes so much sense. But is this the mindset a 5-year-old kid like you should have? You kid is really not normal. Is this probably a common problem among monsters? Tsunade shook his head speechlessly, waved his hand at Qianzan with a disappointed look on his face and said, okay. It's up to you. Go read a book quickly. Receive. Qianzan immediately picked up a basic medical book and read it carefully and quickly. Swish, swish, swish. Hearing Qianzan's increasingly pleasant sound of turning pages, Tsunade felt more and more something was wrong. He raised his head and saw that Qianzan's pages were almost turning out afterimages. Suddenly, he slapped the table angrily and scolded, is this how you treat me? Is this what you mean by cherishing the opportunity to read? After hearing this, Qianzan raised his head with some confusion, looked at Tsunade in confusion and asked, Teacher, why are you angry? I have written it all down and I understand everything. This book is relatively basic. You don't need to talk too much and take time to read it carefully. What's the problem with reading it faster? All I can say is that the talent of learning quickly is really useful. In addition, the top yin escape talent also greatly improved his learning ability and understanding. At this time, his understanding was definitely at the level of a monster. Under various influences, photographic memory has become just a basic operation for him. Huh, are you quite loud? Then let me see if it's true or not. When Tsunade heard Qianzan's boast about choosing Heiko, his first reaction was disbelief, but he also felt that it was impossible for a guy as smart as Qianzan to tell such a lie that could be exposed at any time. He immediately stood up and took the medical book from Qianzan's hand. He flipped through a page that Qianzan had already read and asked, on page 67, what is written in the lower 13 lines? What does it mean? Qianzan replied without hesitation, it means. Page 54, line 24. Written, means, quote. Next, Tsunade selected passages from more than 10 pages and asked them one by one. As a result, Qianzan answered the questions fluently, and he not only memorized them, but also had a deep understanding of the contents in these books. Hiss. Tsunade stopped asking questions, raised his head and looked at Qianzan, and couldn't help but gasp. The look in Qianzan's eyes changed, as if he were looking at a monster. Do you want to be so pervert? People shouldn't have such a strong learning ability. Qianzan was speechless after hearing this and said, Teacher, don't think I didn't hear that you were scolding me. Why am I not a human being? Tsunade returned the book in his hand to Qianzan and couldn't help but roll his eyes and said, if I have your learning ability, I will accept even the names others scold me. If you continue to study with your ability, I feel that these hundreds of medical books are not enough for you to read for 10 days. You're making me, a teacher, very unfulfilled. For the first time, Tsunade felt that his disciple was too evil, which was quite uncomfortable and boring. Hey. After hearing this, Qianzan smiled humbly and said, that's not the case. This book is relatively simple. The following ones will only become more and more difficult and profound. I plan to spend 1 to 2 months reading these books and then start practicing. What do you think, teacher? He was naturally willing to learn medical ninjutsu. This can improve one's own survivability, and at the same time, it can also treat one's companions when needed. It is a skill that must be mastered. Moreover, he also wants to learn all the medical ninjutsu that Tsunade masters. I believe that the rewards given by these medical ninjutsu systems will not be bad. In addition, the study of medical skills and medical ninjutsu is also a process of in-depth understanding of the human body. This will help him further study and develop ninjutsu, and even study the boundaries of blood succession. As you wish. Tsunade listened and nodded. I think you can plan it well by yourself. I won't worry about it. If you don't understand something, ask me again. She felt that if she continued to worry, her heart would not be able to bear it. That's right, teacher. I will use Shadow Clone to study every afternoon, while the main body will practice taijutsu and ninjutsu. Is that okay? Qianzan asked again. He cannot spend all his time learning medical knowledge, even if it is important. Currently, he still has to focus on improving his strength. After hearing this, Tsunade was shocked and said, are you sure there will be no problem? You are going to separate a shadow clone to go to school. Do you know, you little brat, that shadow clone also has serious side effects. Excessive use can easily lead to sudden death. This is also the reason why shadow clone technique is listed as forbidden technique. Although shadow clone technique is not as threatening as multiple shadow clone, the risk is still there. She felt that Qianzan was a little too busy, which put pressure on her as a teacher. It seemed that it was a sin for her to be lazy, gamble and drink every day. Fine, Qianzan said with a relaxed look. My physical fitness is still improving rapidly, and my mental strength is not bad. If I study with 2 shadow clone every day, there won't be much pressure. What's more, he can also separate a true shadow clone. The true shadow clone will only give back shared gains, but will not give back fatigue, and other negative effects. It's simply a magic trick to open up inner scrolls. Unfortunately, Qianzan can only produce one true shadow clone at the same time. Otherwise, if he were to directly divide them into 10 or 8, wouldn't he be directly heaven-defying? After hearing this, Tsunade nodded numbly. Since you think it's okay, then it's up to you. She decided not to care. A monster like Qianzan is more suitable for free-range teaching. In the next month or so, Qianzan went as planned. In the morning, the main body went to the ninja hospital to learn medical knowledge. In the afternoon, a true shadow clone was left in the hospital, while the main body went to practice taijutsu and ninjutsu. The school continues to use shadow clone. Anyway, at the moment, there is nothing worthy of his attention at the school. In this way, not only was he rapidly accumulating medical knowledge, but his gains in physical skills and ninjutsu were also constantly increasing. In addition, although he acquired a lot of ninjutsu in a short period of time, receiving system rewards greatly increased his physique and chakra amount to Chunin level. But Qianzan is not complacent at all, and he and Minato will still go to the forest every afternoon to hunt beasts with chakra for collection. At this time, the system reward obtained by collecting beasts with chakra within the ordinary genin level has been reduced to 1 point of constitution per beast. However, the first collection of poisonous insects with chakra gave him a small surprise. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the rare collectible, genin level poisonous spider. Reward: Constitution plus 10, Talent Danger Sense, low level poison resistance. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, genin level poisonous lion majesty. Reward: Physique plus 5. After 3 times, the collection rewards for the poisonous insect collection category were all reduced to 1 point of constitution. Better than nothing, but Qianzan still insisted on hunting. In this way, after more than a month, his physique increased to 164 points. Chakra has also been increased to 1640 points, and it is no longer at the bottom among Chunin. Of course, it is still far away from the 5,000 perception points required by Jonin. Among them, not all system rewards have been improved. Another part is the physical improvement of Qianzan's Senju blood inheritance, and the influence of the top water and soil attribute affinity talent, which leads to the continuous replenishment of Senju blood and the benefits brought by the improvement. There are a few other points that are the results of his insistence on exercising for more than a month, plus the growth of his body with age. In addition, during this period, the shadow clone sent to the school by Qianzan also encountered Danzo twice. What makes Qianzan a little confused is that Danzo is not very hostile to him, but seems to have a good impression of him. Moreover, it makes him feel that he is really valued. These were all fed back to him by Qianzan's newly acquired danger perception talent, so there was absolutely no way he could go wrong. What the hell is this guy Danzo doing? Not only does he not have any ill intentions toward me, but he also has good intentions. It's simply inexplicable. However, no matter what his intentions are, I still have to be careful. It will never go wrong to be on guard against him. Qianzan thought to himself. People change. He is destined to be different from Danzo. Although, it is unclear what disease Danzo is suffering from at this time, and there is no harm done to him. But that's just because he doesn't currently threaten Danzo, and may have great value in Danzo's eyes. In the future, he and Danzo will take the initiative to become opposites and become mortal enemies. However, this is fine for the time being. Let Shadow Clone deal with Danzo first, keeping a distance that is neither far nor close, and delay it as long as possible. Just give me a peaceful period of growth to get through the most vulnerable and dangerous period. When my strength improves, even if Danzo suddenly turns against me and is disadvantageous to me now, I won't be afraid anymore. Hee. Qianzan thought analytically. In addition, during this period of more than a month, Qianzan also went to the ninja shop owned by the Inuzuka family and purchased 3 puppies. The 3 puppies alone cost him 600,000 taels. Add in the dog food and other things that follow every month, and the expenses are overwhelming. Fortunately, my parents left me a pension of more than 2 million yuan. In addition, the monetary rewards I received from collecting ninjutsu and other things these days can support me. Otherwise, I really can't afford it. Qianzan thought as he left the ninja dog shop with 3 puppies in his arms and a large bag of dog food on his back, and walked home. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, a ninja dog puppy. Reward: Beast Taming Contract Technique, Constitution plus 20. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, a ninja dog puppy. Reward: Beast Controlling Bloodline Evolution Potion Formula 1, Constitution plus 10. Congratulations to host for obtaining the ordinary collectible, a ninja dog puppy. Reward: Ninja Dog Bloodline Evolution Potion 1, Constitution plus 5. Beast Controlling Contract Technique. By entering into a contract with a controlling beast, you can share part of the talent, physique, and life of the master and the controlling beast, influencing each other, promoting each other, and achieving each other's achievements. The higher the favorability of the controlling beast, the better the sharing effect. The number of beast control contracts is related to the master's spirit and soul level. Beast Royal Bloodline Evolution Potion Formula. It records the pharmaceutical formula that can increase the blood concentration of the royal beast and promote the evolution of its bloodline. These rewards are very good. Especially this beast control contract. Can it actually achieve the effect of the beast masters in some beast control novels in previous lives? It's so developed. With this magical power and secret technique, as long as I find a few excellent beast masters, my physique, chakra amount and even mental strength will be greatly improved. It's a pity that the number of contracts is limited. Otherwise, if I just made a lot of contracts, I would really take off right on the spot. Qianzan thought excitedly and a little regretfully. I just don't know how many I can contract now. With this thought in mind, Qianzan rushed home as quickly as possible and chose to receive all the rewards. Suddenly, a large amount of information about the beast controlling contract technique and the beast controlling bloodline evolution potion formula poured into his mind. He quickly closed his eyes and tried his best to digest and understand. After a while, he opened his eyes, rubbed his eyebrows with his fingers, and thought with a headache, sure enough, it's not that simple. According to the information feedback given by the beast controlling technique, with his current soul and mental strength, he can only contract with 2 controlling beasts. Currently, I don't have any channels to contact better beast control targets. Maybe I can choose one of these 3 puppies to contract. The remaining 2 can only use the contract summoning spell to make ordinary contracts for the time being. There happens to be a bottle of beast controlling bloodline evolution potion among the rewards. If you feed it to the puppy who wants to sign the beast controlling contract, you should be able to get a ninja dog with good bloodline qualifications, right? Qianzan thought in his mind. It's not like he hasn't thought about finding an opportunity to obtain Katsuyu's summoning contract qualification from his teacher Tsunade. At least, Katsuyu's qualifications are definitely far beyond this ordinary ninja dog. But after thinking about it for a moment, he gave up. Because among the 3 major summoning holy places in the ninja world, only the Shimogan Forest is special. Because there is actually only one Katsuyu in the entire Shigan Forest, and the rest are Katsuyu's clones. If he chooses to contract Katsuyu with the beast control contract, wouldn't many secrets be exposed to Katsuyu seriously? Katsuyu's loyalty is not yet guaranteed. So, this option pass. Of course, with his current soul and mental strength, it is obvious that he cannot contract with a boss like Katsuyu. The soul and spirit are not strong enough. As for Mount Myoboku and Ryachi Cave, they are temporarily unfamiliar and inappropriate. Secondly, forget about Ryachi Cave, and maybe try to tame a few potential ninja snakes in the contract in the future. But as for Mount Myoboku, Qianzan didn't have a good impression of that old toad that was talking about a certain place. No idea of contact at all. I always feel that he is making some prophecies and has an impure purpose in deceiving Jiraiya. If you can get an extra bottle of beast-controlling bloodline evolution potion, it would actually be a good choice to contract 2 ninja dogs directly. Qianzan was a little regretful, and the system temporarily gave him a bottle of reward. He was not even sure whether he would be able to obtain the beast-controlling blood potion reward if he purchased the ninja dog collection. Because this reward is obviously decreasing rapidly. Qianzan thought carefully and said, then contract a ninja dog first, and the remaining spot will be vacant for the time being. When you meet a suitable beast master in the future, or find a way to get good beast master rewards from the system, you can just make a contract at that time. In addition, I need to study the formula of the beast-controlling bloodline potion carefully in the future, and try to prepare the beast-controlling bloodline evolution potion myself as soon as possible. Then I won't worry that the beast-controlling bloodline cannot evolve and the potential is not enough. He looked at the formula and effects of the blood potion. It was quite good and could be used repeatedly. It can always promote the growth and evolution of the beast-controlling bloodline. Of course, the effect is definitely the best and most obvious when the bloodline level is low at the beginning. It will gradually decrease later, until it reaches a minimum level. In addition, since this blood evolution potion can have an effect on beasts, will it have any effect on humans, at least humans who have blood inheritance limits? Qianzan thinks this is a good research topic. However, judging from the complexity of this formula, it is almost impossible for him to study the bloodline evolution principle in the short term and modify it into a bloodline evolution potion that can promote the evolution of ninja blood succession. Perhaps, we can cooperate with Orochimaru. This idea was rejected by Qianzan himself as soon as it came up. At least, in the short term, this method cannot be used until I have the absolute ability to protect myself. Besides, it's better to find Tsunade than Orochimaru. But even now Tsunade, Qianzan still can't completely trust him. At least, he couldn't trust Tsunade yet when it came to this bloodline evolution potion. Forget it, let's do it step by step. Anyway, there is still time. At worst, I will just learn slowly by myself. Anyway, with my current understanding and learning ability, it will only be a matter of time before I surpass my teacher or even Orochimaru. Thinking of this, Qianzan temporarily gave up the idea. Start practicing the beast-controlling contract technique first, and contract a beast controller. With this thought, Qianzan sat down cross-legged and began to familiarize himself with the beast control contract technique in his mind. Soon, he initially mastered it, and then he began to open up his beast control space in the sea of consciousness. That's right. The first step in practicing the beast-controlling contract technique is to open up a beast-controlling space. The beast-controlling space is not only used to house the beast controller, but at the same time, this space can also play a role in accelerating the growth of the beast controller and accelerating its recovery. More than 10 minutes later, Qianzan relied on his outstanding soul and mental strength, as well as his strong understanding, to successfully open up a space for beast control. Moreover, the initial diameter of this beast-controlling space is 10 meters. The process was extremely smooth with no twists and turns. Why do I feel that this beast-controlling space can be integrated with the small world? The moment it was successfully opened, this feeling emerged in Qianzan's heart. At the same time, he also felt the instinctive desire of the small world for this beast-controlling space. He trusted his intuition and immediately thought about it. He first took out all the important things such as the money and ninjutsu scrolls he had stored in the small world and put them aside. Then, without hesitation, he chose to move the beast control space closer to the small world and manipulate it to start merging. The next moment, the beast controlling space was directly absorbed by the small world. In the Qianzan Sea of Consciousness, the orb representing the small world suddenly bloomed with a faint light, and then quickly calmed down. Qianzan touches the small world with his thoughts. Suddenly, a stream of information poured into his mind. Sure enough, his intuition was right. The functions and effects of the small world and the beast-controlling space are directly integrated. From now on, the small world will be his beast-controlling space. As long as his beast is in the small world, it can exponentially promote the growth and recovery of the beast. What's more, even if Qianzan's beasts are absorbed into the small world, they can also enjoy this growth and recovery bonus. This is awesome. In addition, from now on, the small world will not only grow by absorbing things with spatial attributes, but will also continue to grow as Qianzan's soul and spiritual power grow. Moreover, the small world has now expanded to a diameter of 1.5 kilometers. More than twice as big. This is perfect. What a surprise. Qianzan thought with joy on his face. He immediately put the things around him and the 3 puppies into the small world. Then, the whole person also entered the small world. Because, for the past month or so, when Qianzan went to the forest to hunt every day, he had been transporting various plants and wood into the small world little by little. Therefore, the small world at this time is no longer the desolate scene it once was. At least, that's the 1 kilometer in between. In this area, many flowers, plants and trees are planted. In the middle area, Qianzan also opened up a small lake with a diameter of 100 meters and a depth of more than 10 meters. Next to the lake, a Chinese-style wooden villa that has not yet been completely completed has been built. These are his results over the past month or so. Beast control contract technique. Then, Qianzan didn't do anything else, but chose the one he felt had the best potential and personality among the 3 puppies. He stretched out his hand and pressed it on its head. A mysterious light appeared on his hand, and he got the beast control contract. The next moment, Qianzan felt that he had established a special spiritual contract with the puppy in his hands. At the same time, waves of warm currents poured into his body along the contract passage, warm and warm. He felt that his physique, bone strength, nails, teeth, sense of smell, hearing, and vision had all been slightly improved. Among them, physical fitness and bone strength are about 10%. His physical fitness soared directly from 182 points to 204 points. The potential of chakra amount has been simultaneously increased to 2040 points. My sense of smell has more than doubled. Fortunately, this is controllable. After he got used to it a little, he could easily control it and close off part of his sense of smell at any time. Vision and hearing have also been more than doubled. It's so cool. Qianzan moved his body and clenched his fists, feeling very excited. Naturally, he was not the only one who benefited. The benefits for this pup are actually even greater. The main reason is that Qianzan is far stronger than it now and has many talents. They are all top-notch. This puppy naturally shared part of Qianzan's talents, and not only his physique, vitality, and various attributes and talents were greatly improved. The most important thing is that his wisdom and understanding have been strengthened to an epic level. In just a moment, his IQ and understanding were no less than those of a normal 12 or 13-year-old child. It's absolutely terrifying. Next, it's time to feed this little guy the blood evolution potion. With this thought in mind, Qianzan took the blood potion directly from the warehouse in the small world villa. He directly set it up so that the item rewards received from the system would appear directly in the small world warehouse. Come on, little one. Drink this. Also, from now on you will be called White Wolf. Qianzan immediately squatted down, touched the white puppy that he had contracted, opened the bloodline potion and handed it over. Ouch! The little white wolf called out cutely, and his smart eyes were fixed on it from the moment the blood potion appeared, unwilling to move away. Seeing Qianzan hand over the blood potion, it sat down without hesitation, then stretched out its 2 short claws, nimbly grabbed the bottle, and drank it down eagerly, leaving nothing behind. Then, he felt a warm current spreading from his stomach to his whole body. Then, the little guy licked Qianzan's hand and couldn't hold on anymore. He lay down and closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. It seems that this bloodline evolution will not be completed all at once. We can only wait. Thinking of this, Qianzan made a thought and immediately took the white wolf, black wolf, and gray wolf the other 2 puppies to disappear on the grass in front of the villa and appeared in the pet area inside the villa. He gently placed the white wolf into a small wooden house that had been built earlier. At the same time, YY used the authority of the small world to set up a space barrier around the cabin to ensure that the white wolf would not be disturbed. Then, Qianzan looked at the 2 puppies, Black Wolf and Gray Wolf, leaned over and touched the 2 little guys, and muttered, "Although I don't plan to contract you with a beast control contract for the time being, I can still sign a summoning contract. When you grow up in the future, you can also be a fighting partner, or at the worst, a tool dog for communication, right?" With this in mind, Qianzan immediately used the contract summoning technique on them. A summoning contract was concluded with them. Got in touch with them. From now on, he can summon them from the air. Even his shadow clone can summon them from the air. This is the true role of the summoning contract. Grow up well. Qianzan then thought about it, took some dog food, and put it into 2 dog bowls. I touched their furry fur again and teased them for a while, then I thought about it and left the small world. 5 days later, Qianzan, who was completing his daily hunting in the forest, suddenly stopped and fell on a huge branch. He only felt a stream of warm current flowing into his body along the beast control contract, strengthening his physique, bones, and 5 senses. At the same time, another skill appeared in his mind, wind blade technique. This is a natural skill. He could feel that there was no need to form seals or deliberately mobilize chakra to perform this skill. He could continuously cast this skill just by instinct. Hey, tear! He immediately waved his hand in front of him based on his feeling. A huge wind blade more than 1 meter long roared out and struck a big tree several meters away across the space. Kaka! Boom! The thick branch that the man was surrounded by was cut off instantly and fell to the ground. Qianzan landed on the branch and touched the cross-section, feeling extremely smooth. The power is pretty good. It's several times stronger than the wind style and cutting technique I used. The current standard power is about B-level ninjutsu. However, if we can improve it and adjust the chakra output by ourselves, the power should be greatly increased. Qianzan analyzed and judged. In addition, the power of this skill should continue to grow as White Wolf continues to grow. That's right, these are all the things Bai Lang just fed back to him through the beast control contract. Obviously, White Wolf has completed his first bloodline evolution. Realizing that the White Wolf was exchanging himself in the small world, Qianzan immediately took out the White Wolf and held it in his arms. Ouch! As soon as the White Wolf came out, he rubbed Qianzan's hand affectionately, called out cutely, and greeted Qianzan. Huh, the size has more than doubled. Although it is still very small. Qianzan touched the White Wolf and thought with some joy. In addition, the White Wolf's hair became smoother and more beautiful, as if it was shining white. There is a silver crescent mark between the eyebrows, and the teeth and claws have become sharper. More importantly, Qianzan could feel that White Wolf's chakra volume had climbed directly to the elite genin level, which was not far from the lowest standard of chunin. Not bad. After checking the changes in the White Wolf, he had time to check the changes in his attributes. Not to mention other things, physique skyrocketed by 80 points, reaching 289 points. Qianzan. At this time, Minato kept jumping and flying towards us from a distance. Soon he came to Qianzan. Qianzan, when did you get a little white dog? Minato noticed the small white dog in Qianzan's arms and was slightly startled and said in surprise. He could feel that this little white dog had genin level chakra. This is obviously a puppy. I bought it together with Black Wolf and Grey Wolf. I fell into a deep sleep for unknown reasons before. I just woke up now and I have become a lot stronger. Qianzan explained with a smile. Huh, is that so? Minato was also very surprised when he heard this. It seems that this little guy is not simple. Minato felt a little envious and thought to himself, maybe I should also buy a ninja dog. But considering my own financial resources, I had to give up this plan for the time being. When you become a ninja and make money, you can buy it again. Minato thought to himself. He could borrow money from Qianzan, and he believed Qianzan would lend it to him without hesitation. But how could he speak? Both of them are orphans, and Qianzan's parents don't have much inheritance left to him, so he can't do this. I'm almost done hunting here, and it's getting late. Do you want to go back? Minato shook off the miscellaneous thoughts in his mind, changed the subject and asked. Okay, let's go. Immediately, the two used the body flicker technique and quickly rushed out of the forest. This morning, Qianzan came to the ninja hospital as usual and met Tsunade. As a result, Tsunade was seen fully armed and waiting. Teacher, what are you doing? Qianzan looked at Tsunade with a puzzled expression. You're finally here, Tsunade said directly. I'm going to take on a mission and I'm going out for a while. Have you read enough of the medical book? Yes, Qianzan nodded affirmatively. There's only one left. I can finish it today. What's wrong? Nothing. Tsunade shook his head, then took out the space seal scrolls one by one from the desk beside him and handed them to Qianzan. Here is a complete set of medical ninjutsu, I will give them to you first. Before I come back, you should experiment with fish or small animals to learn. So as not to delay your learning progress. If you have any questions, please wait until I come back. Any questions? For another person, she really might not be able to take care of herself with such confidence. But if this person is Qianzan, Tsunade said it won't be a big problem. She has seen many evil places in Qianzan. Qianzan quickly took the seal scroll, shook his head slightly excitedly and said, "Of course not, don't worry, I will study hard." Finally got these medical ninjutsu. He has been waiting for this day for a long time. Tsunade nodded with satisfaction. I'm relieved about this. If you really have any questions, you can actually ask Michiko, the deputy director of the ninja hospital, or your grandma Mito. Their medical ninjutsu are very powerful, and they are more than enough to teach you. Yes, I understand. Then I wish you good luck in your mission, teacher. Qianzan nodded and sent his blessing to Tsunade. At the same time, he couldn't help but think of what Uzumaki Mito inadvertently said to Tsunade when he went to chat with Uzumaki Mito last time. That's when Uzumaki Mito said that her body could not last for many years, and the village was planning to go to the country of Uzumaki to select a Jinchuriki as a backup soon. Although, he only heard it inadvertently, and Uzumaki Mito and the others did not continue to discuss this issue in front of him. But combined with Tsunade's sudden mission at this time, Qianzan has reason to suspect that Tsunade is going to the kingdom of Whirlpool to pick up Kushina Whirlpool this time, right? According to the memories of previous lives, everyone has different opinions on the time when the kingdom of Whirlpool will be destroyed. It is said that before Kushina Uzumaki came to Konaha, the country of Uzumaki had been destroyed. It is also said that the Whirlpool Kushina was destroyed after it came to Konaha. Qianzan's comprehensive analysis suggests that it is unlikely that Uzumaki Kushina came to Konaha after the Uzumaki kingdom was destroyed. Or maybe Tsunade and the others went to pick up the Uzumaki Kushina this time, just in time to catch up with the Uzumaki country being attacked. No matter what, this is a good opportunity for me. Maybe I can find a way to participate. If I can take the opportunity to obtain a few corpses of the Uzumaki clan and even some sealing techniques, is it possible to obtain the Uzumaki sage body and other good things to increase my strength? Qianzan thought excitedly. Of course, he knew that it was unrealistic and dangerous for the main body to leave the village. He is not so stupid that he would seek death easily. But he can use True Shadow Clone. True Shadow Clone can exist for a long time without the main body, and has a certain degree of chakra autonomous recovery ability. Qianzan has spent some time studying the principles in the past month or so. Now you can find the principles and transform them into magical powers, secret techniques or exercises for use. If it really happened, wouldn't he be able to synthesize chakra without consuming cellular energy and mental energy? Wouldn't that be equivalent to cultivating immortality? However, this thing is obviously not so easy to understand. At least, Qianzan doesn't have much clue yet. That's too far. Now that he has the True Shadow Clone and the talent of breath concealment, Qianzan has a way to send the True Shadow Clone out without anyone noticing. Yeah, let's do it. No matter whether the teacher's mission this time is related to the kingdom of Whirlpool or not. I will send True Shadow Clone there. Qianzan made up his mind immediately. It won't be much different, Kushina herself is coming to Konoha soon. If you have the opportunity and ability, you can secretly save some of the Uzumaki clan. Qianzan even thought about it. Okay, I'm leaving. Tsunade didn't know what Qianzan was thinking, so he waved goodbye to Qianzan and left quickly. Qianzan didn't care about anything else. He immediately picked up the medical book he hadn't finished reading and quickly left the hospital and rushed home first. At the same time, don't forget to check the prompt content of the system just now. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Healing Jutsu. Rewards, talent, skillful hands, and master-level Chinese medicine knowledge empowerment. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Yin Healing and Injury Destroying Technique. Reward, Chakra plus 50 and 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Yin Healing and Injury Destroying Technique. Reward, Chakra plus 50 and 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Technique for Extracting Minor Trouble. Reward, Chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Rejuvenation and Regeneration Technique. Reward, Chakra plus 50 and 100,000 taels of money. Congratulations to host for obtaining the rare collectible, Chakra Scalpel. Reward, Chakra plus 50, 100,000 taels of money. Talent skilled hands. Your hands are extremely flexible, more than 5 times that of ordinary people. It is not difficult for you to form seals with one hand and 8 seals per second. Do you have a talent for dexterity? It's quite good. In addition, the master level Chinese medicine knowledge initiation is also very good. I am very curious about the knowledge and information in it. Maybe this will bring me a huge surprise. With this thought, Qianzan quickly returned home. Then, without hesitation, he mentally ordered the system, receive all rewards. The next moment, waves of warmth flowed from the sea of consciousness between the eyebrows throughout the body, greatly increasing Qianzan's physique and vitality. Moreover, Qianzan felt a warm current in his hands that strengthened the key points. Make his hands extremely flexible. At the same time, a lot of Chinese medicine knowledge was poured into my mind. Even with Qianzan's powerful soul and mental power, he felt a little swollen between his eyebrows. There is simply too much knowledge and information. He immediately focused on 2 things, and started to practice the chakra refining technique while being distracted, so as to realize the potential he had just gained as soon as possible. At the same time, half of the mind was devoted to digesting and receiving this Chinese medicine knowledge and information, striving to digest it as quickly as possible. He found that this knowledge and information on traditional Chinese medicine was all-encompassing. Not only are there detailed treatment methods and experiences for various common illnesses, difficult diseases, and injuries, but there are also a large number of traditional Chinese medicine formulas, a large number of herbal medicines, and knowledge about medicinal properties. He felt that if he could completely digest this knowledge and use it for his own use, it would be easy for him to surpass his teacher Tsunade in medical skills. For me, the most precious thing at this time is actually the knowledge of herbal medicine and traditional Chinese medicine formulas. With these things, I can directly prepare medicines that strengthen the body, warm and nourish the body's muscles and even internal organs. It's a bloody profit. Speaking of which, why didn't I think of getting the warm medicinal bath formula that the clan distributes every month from teacher Tsunade before? Maybe you can surprise me with collector's stuff. Thinking of this, Qianzan secretly made a note to ask Tsunade for a copy when she comes back next time. He believed that Tsunade would not refuse. I am his beloved disciple. At worst, he could just write down part of this master-level Chinese medicine knowledge, bind it in a book, and give it to his teacher disguised as an ancient book. In addition, this knowledge of traditional Chinese medicine will also be of great help to my subsequent research on blood evolution potions. It came so timely. Qianzan thought to himself. After just roughly digesting this knowledge and information, he felt that he had been touched and gained a lot. If he studied it in depth, he would definitely gain a lot. As Qianzan has gained more and more control over the Senju chakra refining technique in his body, he is now refining chakra and realizing his own chakra potential faster and faster. In just over half an hour, Qianzan completed the practice of chakra and realized his potential. The amount of chakra has also climbed to 3,330 points, which is considered above average among Chunin. Then, he formed a seal to create a real shadow clone. Then, with a thought, I took out several space seal scrolls from the small world that I had made in the past while studying the basic sealing techniques, and handed them to the real shadow clone. Well, I will call him Shadow Clone number 1 from now on. And warned, the task of going to the kingdom of Whirlpool is left to you. How to control it depends entirely on you. Get the biggest bang for your buck. If you have anything, just pass it to me directly through the ninja dog. Although White Wolf and the others are still a bit reluctant to fight, if they are just summoning to convey messages, there will be no problem. Okay, leave it to me. Let's go. Shadow Clone number 1 nodded, put away these space seal scrolls, and then with a thought, directly cast the transformation technique, turning into an ordinary adult. Then, turn on the breath concealment talent to its maximum effect. If you don't look carefully at all times, you will be ignored. Then, Shadow Clone 1 quickly left home. Ignored by countless people along the way, I arrived somewhere on the avenue more than 100 meters away from the village gate, and patiently and quietly observed and waited. That's it. More than 10 minutes later, Qianzan stared at a caravan with 4 or 5 carriages heading towards the gate of Konaha. He immediately used the transformation technique and turned into a stone that splashed out from the roof of the building next to the street and fell directly into the cargo pile of a freight carriage. Several ninjas responsible for the escort mission just glanced at the changing stone number 1, then retracted their gaze without caring, and continued to move forward with the convoy. Not just because it's just a stone. And because of their breath concealment talent, they subconsciously chose to ignore it. Tisk tisk. This talent is really powerful. It reminds me of Kato Megumi. It's a replica. Next, let's see if we can deceive the barrier detection at the entrance of the village. Number 1 thought a little worriedly. If you can't deceive the perception barrier, your plan will be impossible to carry out. Fortunately, everything did not exceed number 1's expectations. The stone he turned into followed the caravan and passed the Konaha gate inspection without any danger. Then, he walked away from Konaha leisurely. However, number 1 did not rush to leave the caravan. Instead, he hid in the caravan and advanced for more than 10 kilometers. After thoroughly understanding the surveillance range of Konaha, he pretended to roll off the carriage inadvertently and fell to the side of the road. In the grass. After the caravan had gone away, number 1 released the transformation technique and transformed into an ordinary young man. He judged the direction and used the body flicker technique to quickly rush towards the general direction of the kingdom of Whirlpool. Obviously, his more than a month was not in vain. Since he was preparing to intervene in the incident in the kingdom of Whirlpool, he sent his own shadow clone to the ninja school and went to the school library from time to time to check a lot of information. He has a certain understanding of the geography of the ninja world. It is naturally not difficult for him to determine the location of the Whirlpool kingdom. Hokage office. Third generation looked at the gate of Konoha through the office window, and seemed to see the scene of Tsunade and others leaving Konoha and heading to the kingdom of Whirlpool. Call. After a long while, he took a puff of dry smoke, turned to Danzo, who was also in Hokage's office, and asked, "Are you sure that the news that Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, and Rock Shinobi have secretly connected together and are preparing to attack the kingdom of Whirlpool is accurate?" Ah. Danzo listened and immediately sneered. "What else? You have already sent someone to pick them up. Why are you still doubting here? When have I been vague about important things? This time, the kingdom of Whirlpool will definitely be destroyed, and it is irreparable." Danzo's tone was full of indifference, as if he was not talking about Konoha's allies, but just an unrelated force. Why, after hearing this, the third generation couldn't help but sigh. Everyone is not guilty of harboring the jade. The sealing technique mastered by the Whirlpool country has threatened all the major ninja villages. At the same time, it is also coveted by the major ninja villages, so being targeted is inevitable. It just so happens that they don't know how to keep a low profile, and they also treat as Konoha aloofly. It's a pity that the situation in the ninja world is getting more and more tense, and we in Konoha can't spare much power to help them. One bad move can easily lead to a huge conflict, or even a new ninja war. We can only sacrifice them. Looking at third generation's pitiful and unbearable hypocrisy, Danzo felt extremely sick. But he couldn't say anything yet. However, in Danzo's perception, isn't that the third generation? Hypocrisy and compromise are his two biggest characteristics. I really don't understand why the teacher chose him to be the Hokage in the first place. Am I not much better than him? If I were Hokage, I would never compromise like this. I will directly choose to use this to force the Uzumaki clan to completely merge into Konoha. Or, use the kingdom of Whirlpool to set up a trap and deceive the three major ninja villages. Danzo thought with disdain and dissatisfaction. When he first received the news that the three great ninja villages were going to take action against the country of Whirlpool, Danzo had suggested this to third generation. But third generation refused. He did not want to anger the other three major ninja villages because of the kingdom of Whirlpool, causing a new ninja war to break out. Danzo, are your arrangements okay? We must ensure that Tsunade and the others can bring back an excellent Jinchuriki candidate safely. Also, we also need to get a large part of the sealing techniques from the country of Whirlpool, and try our best to ensure that other ninja villages get less, do you understand? Third generation didn't know what Danzo was thinking, so he asked instead. Certainly, Danzo nodded affirmatively. Everything has been arranged. However, this matter is very important. I am going to host it in person. If there is nothing else, I will leave first. Good. The third generation naturally had no objection, but in the end, he glanced at Danzo and pretended to inadvertently whisper, "That's right. Among the people escorting Tsunade, there are more than 10 backbones of the Senju clan, let them take good care of Uzumaki. Let's all help as a family." Although the third generation's words were relatively vague, Danzo immediately understood that the third generation wanted to keep these more than 10 ninjas from the Senju clan on the battlefield of the Kingdom of Whirlpool without having to come back. Naturally, he would not refuse this kind of drama that would further weaken Senju. He immediately nodded with a sneer and said, "Don't worry, I'll do the work. Let's go." After saying that, Danzo turned around and left quickly. The third generation was left standing in Hokage's office, smoking a cigarette. After a long time, a deep voice sounded in the office, "Don't blame me, everything is for Konaha." The core area of the Senju tribe. Uzumaki Mito looked up at the direction of the Hokage building, then looked at the direction of the Uzumaki country, frowned slightly and said, "Sure enough, Monkey and the others are still worried about Senju, so they can't wait to further suppress the Senju forces. For this, are you even willing to sacrifice the country of the Whirlpool?" Is Uzumaki Mito angry? Naturally, he was very angry. But what can she do? What's the reason to stop it? Not to mention that there is no definite news that the third generation ninja village will take action against the country of Whirlpool in the near future. Even if there is, third generation can find various excuses to shirk and delay the time and scale of support. In the end, the kingdom of Whirlpool was still inevitably destroyed. In the final analysis, the kingdom of Whirlpool was doomed from the moment it was targeted by the major ninja villages. It's not like Uzumaki Mito hasn't sent letters to Uzumaki country recently to remind and persuade. But it didn't work. She left the Uzumaki clan to marry into the Senju clan for too long. After a long time, the people in power there simply couldn't listen to her opinions and suggestions. Some people even felt disgusted with her, thinking that it was Mito Uzumaki's act of sealing 9 tails into himself that made the country of Uzumaki a thorn in the side of the major ninja villages. The various reasons were so complicated that Uzumaki Mito felt helpless. The only thing she could do was to send Tsunade and more than a dozen elites of the Senju clan to save some of the Uzumaki clan at the critical moment. Brought them back to Konoha. Of course, if she were a few years younger, more impulsive, and didn't have so many worries, she might be able to directly force something to change herself. Unfortunately, she is old, so old that she is about to die. This feeling of powerlessness also strengthened her determination to cultivate Qianzan and Minato as soon as possible. 5 days later, near the capital of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Qianzan's one shadow clone had arrived here a few days ago and used his talents to sneak in quietly. It's not that he didn't think about doing something in advance and getting something. However, the core area of the Uzumaki clan is dominated by the red-haired Uzumaki clan, and it is not that there are no Uzumaki clan who possess Kagura's heart's eye and other perception techniques. Coupled with the endless sealing techniques of the Uzumaki clan, sneaking in casually is seeking death. The strong warning given to him by his danger perception talent made him choose to lurk temporarily. Also just now, Number 1 witnessed Tsunade leading more than 10 meters of Senju clan members into the core area of the capital of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. At that time, Number 1 could not help but frown slightly. Teacher Tsunade actually brought so many people from the Senju clan here. It seems that this is Grandma Mito's arrangement. She obviously knows a lot of things. But if you let these elites of the Senju clan come over now, aren't you asking them to die? Thinking of this, Qianzan inadvertently glanced at a place 100 meters away in the northeast, and then looked back instantly. As early as 1 day ago, Number 1 discovered that a group of unidentified elite ninja troops had also sneaked into this place and lurked. Moreover, with Qianzan's improved sealing skills during this period, he could easily sense the aura of a certain sealing skill similar to Danzo's from these people. The roots. Number 1 frowned. The target of these people is just the Uzumaki clan. Or are these Senju elites brought by teacher Tsunade also? Number 1 has reason to suspect that both are the targets of these root ninjas. Sure enough, third generation and Danzo may talk nice, but behind the scenes, they will not miss an opportunity to attack and weaken the backbone of the Senju clan. They can't rest assured unless Senju is completely destroyed. We have to find a way to stop it. Thinking of this, Number 1 had a headache. With his current strength, what he can do is actually very limited. In addition, most of the Senju clan are Tihanan, so even if he secretly gives information to remind them to be careful of backstabbing from root ninjas, they may not believe it. Most of these people have a straightforward temperament, like to be straightforward, and don't like to engage in intrigues behind the scenes. He would not easily doubt his fellow villagers, even if these fellow village ninjas are the root of the notorious. No matter what, you still have to work hard. Whether you can succeed in the end depends on God's will. Number 1 thought of this and immediately took action. He did nothing else. He just left the capital of the kingdom of Whirlpool and came to a forest on the outskirts. He first used the summoning technique to summon the white wolf and handed a scroll to the white wolf. Then, the summons was cancelled. The white wolf turned into a ball of smoke and disappeared. Number 1 got up and ducked into the forest. Here in Konaha. Qianzan is here at the secret training base, using a fish to repeatedly test his medical ninjutsu and medical knowledge. He just sensed that the white wolf in the small world was summoned away. The eyes of this fish have long since lost their luster, just like a salted fish that has no love left in its life. Minato on the side looked at Qianzan with a pained face and admonished, "Qianzan, why don't you just give this fish a good time? It's a bit too inhumane to treat injuries like this, then treat them again, and torture them repeatedly. You might as well just kill it and bake it. At the worst, I can just use a few more fish to test your medical ninjutsu." Hearing this, before Qianzan could speak, a bright light appeared in the fish's eyes, with a hint of hope and relief. Qianzan, Minato, is this fish so intelligent? Minato also noticed this, hesitantly and surprised. Who knows? Upon hearing this, Qianzan shrugged his shoulders, followed suit, and struck the chakra scalpel directly to cut off the fish's head, giving it the relief it wanted. At this time, Qianzan felt that the white wolf was sent back again, with a scroll in his mouth. Qianzan immediately continued chatting with Minato, while quietly communicating with the white wolf in the small world. Well done. He directly transmitted the message to Bai Lang, then took the scroll into the air, unfolded it, and quickly browsed through its contents. It suddenly became clear in my heart. Didn't you expect that Mr. Tsunade would bring the elite of the Senju clan? Isn't it that these dozen or so Jonin are already more than half of the remaining backbone of the Senju clan? The roots have also appeared. It's really troublesome. Catch birds, poisonous insects, etc. to make a summoning contract. Got it. After Qianzan read the letter, he already knew number 1's plan. This is to prepare to use this trick to expand the investigation capabilities and scope. Also, be prepared to summon birds to convey your message. Not bad. Let's start taking action. Immediately, Qianzan stopped practicing and experimenting with medical ninjutsu, washed his hands in the river water, then stood up and said to Minato, "I'm going to find some herbs in the forest. You can continue to practice here." With that said, Qianzan dodged directly into the forest ahead. Okay, Minato responded and continued to practice hard. After entering the forest, Qianzan captured more than 40 birds, poisonous insects, lion majesty and other creatures, all of which were summoned to the contract. These creatures can be commanded to a certain extent. At the same time, he also sensed that he had more than 30 additional summoning contract targets. Obviously, this is the work of no one. It should be almost done. That's it. Feeling that it was almost done, Qianzan immediately stopped and started to return. Tsunade's side. After entering the core area of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, he successfully met with the current leader of the Whirlpool clan and expressed his intention to come. Chief Shaoqing, faced with the siege from Cloud Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, and Rock Shinobi, no matter how strong the Whirlpool country is, it may be difficult to resist. Why not take the clan and retreat to Konoha with us? Tsunade persuaded as soon as he came up. Hee. However, after hearing this, Uzumaki Shuking sneered, "Remove Konoha. Don't you think it's too ridiculous and too naive? If Konoha really cares about our country, the Uzumaki country, and the friendship between us, then it shouldn't be just you Senju who are here, but Konoha's large army. Since Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others didn't send anyone else here, it's obvious that Konoha can't tolerate us, and they have given up on us as allies and chose to sit back and watch us be besieged. Then do you think it is still necessary for us to evacuate Konoha? Obviously, Uzumaki Shuking was not an idiot, and surprisingly he saw things clearly. But Tsunade felt very sad after hearing this, but he also realized that what the Uzumaki clan leader said made sense, but he still wanted to fight for it. No need but. Before she could continue, she was interrupted by Uzumaki Shuking. There is no need to discuss this matter. Actually, from the moment Mito-sama sealed Nine Tails with the sealing technique and chose to become Jinchuriki, we had anticipated this day. The only thing I didn't expect was that first generation and Senju Tobirama would die so early. Senju even foolishly chose to integrate into the civilian plan. Otherwise, I can give the Uzumaki clan more time to prepare. And after Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others took over the Hokage, Konoha's attitude towards our Uzumaki country changed. In short, as of today, things are irreversible. Since Cloud Shinobi and Mist Shinobi are fighting, then we, the Uzumaki clan, will fight. We are never afraid of fighting. He is heard mocking Senju's policy of integrating into the civilian population. The Senju clan elites who came here also had different expressions. But most of them showed signs of approval. Indeed, most of us here don't actually agree with Lord Tobirama's plan to integrate into the common people of Konoha. Unfortunately, the majority agreed before. By the time those who don't agree make up the majority, it's already too late. The situation has been controlled by the third generation. It's not up to us whether we want to integrate or not. The leader was none other than Senju Temu, and he could not refute Uzumaki Shuking's words. But she looked at him firmly and said, "But as an ally of the Whirlpool clan. In-laws, the friendship between us will never change. Since you choose to fight, please allow us to stay and help. As for Konoha's refusal to assist, we can only say sorry. This is not Senju's original intention, and it is no longer something we can control." Tsunade was shocked when he heard these words. She felt that her three views had collapsed a lot, and most of her filters for third generation had been torn to pieces. Teacher, have they become so despicable for their own benefit? This is completely different from what he usually says. Tsunade thought angrily. This is not just for Konoha at all. Ha ha. When Uzumaki Shuking heard Senju Temu's words, he couldn't help laughing. He reached out and patted Temu on the shoulder and said, "Okay." I agreed. Sure enough, Senju will never let us down. However, please promise me that if things cannot be done, I hope you can escort a group of young and old from the Uzumaki clan to leave the country of Uzumaki and go to Konoha to survive. Although very reluctant to do so. But if it really comes to a matter of life and death, the surviving Uzumaki clan survivors may really have to go to Konoha to survive. Survival is better. Of course, Uzumaki Shuking and the others are not fools, and they will naturally not put their eggs in one basket. Therefore, they have other plans and preparations. Fighting hard is never their only option. In the face of family life and death, there is no shame in fleeing. After hearing this, Senju Temu hesitated for a moment. Seeing Uzumaki Shuking's firm eyes, he finally nodded heavily and promised firmly, "If that moment comes, I will do it." Haha, okay, that's enough. After hearing this, Uzumaki Shukyu laughed loudly, and then said, "Let's go. You should still have a mission from Konoha. You want to choose an Uzumaki tribesman as the successor of Mito-sama and become the new Nine Tails Jinchuriki, right? I have gathered the children of this generation, pick one of yourselves." The reason why I agreed to this is also a choice and a plan. With his knowledge of Konoha, his knowledge of the third generation and Danzo, they must have secretly filmed people lurking in the kingdom of Whirlpool and waiting. If other plans failed, at least the child of the Uzumaki clan who was chosen to become the successor of Nine Tails Jinchuriki would definitely survive. Even if Tsunade, Temu and the others can't do it, Danzo and the others will try their best to ensure this. To put it bluntly, everything is for profit. Tsunade and the others were stunned at first, then a little embarrassed. But he didn't refuse, he just thanked Uzumaki Shuking for his understanding and generosity. This is indeed their main mission this time. The candidate was chosen quickly, and unsurprisingly, it was Uzumaki Kushina. Is it really Kushina? Uzumaki Shuking was not surprised at all when he saw this result, and his eyes towards Kushina showed a kind look. Temu noticed this and couldn't help but ask, could this child be Good. Uzumaki Shuking nodded affirmatively. It's my little daughter. Having said this, he looked at Tsunade and warned, Tsunade, Kushina will be left to you. If possible, I hope you will take her out of the country of Whirlpool now and return to Konaha as quickly as possible. Tsunade was shocked when he heard this, and turned around to look at Uzumaki Shukyu and refused, I don't agree. I know that the country of Uzumaki is in danger, and if I leave without doing anything, I will never be able to forgive myself. So, Chief Shaoqing, please allow me to stay temporarily to help you. If it really comes to a point of no return, I will take Kushina and leave safely. She herself felt very guilty because of third generation's inaction. If Kushina is taken away at this moment, then who is she? Are you really just here for the Jinchuriki candidates? She, Tsunade, is not so shameless. All right. Seeing Tsunade's firm eyes, Uzumaki Shuking did not refuse in the end. I agreed, but you also have to promise me that if things cannot be done, I will let you go. You must take Kushina away as soon as possible, understand? Good. This time, Tsunade didn't refuse. It's bad, Chief. There are many ninja troops appearing in the east, west and south of the Whirlpool Kingdom. They kill everyone they see. Each one is very strong and there is no way to resist Chunin. They came to the capital on their own. In addition, there is a lot of chaos in the capital. It seems that a group of extremely powerful ninjas have sneaked in and are causing chaos and destruction. At this time, a Uzumaki clan member rushed in and reported to Uzumaki Shuking. What? Uzumaki Shuking's expression changed after hearing this, and he immediately ordered, quickly pass on my order to open the boundary of the capital, and send out mobile troops to strangle the enemies in the capital. Also, start plans number 2 and no. 3. Yes. Immediately, the entire Uzumaki clan began to take action. Naturally, this cannot be hidden from the number 1 in the capital of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Kill. The attacking ninjas are all elite, all led by elite Jonin, and the worst ones have Chunin or even elite Chunin strength. Even though the Kingdom of Whirlpool was somewhat prepared at the beginning, the battle fell into a one-sided situation from the beginning. Just 2 days. The 3 ninja forces have already advanced the battle line to the capital of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. At this time, the capital of the Kingdom of Whirlpool had raised a barrier early for defense. However, due to the destruction of the congenial troops that had previously sneaked in, not only was the power of this barrier greatly reduced, but there were also many loopholes. It only took half a day to figure it out. The ninja troops from the 3 ninja villages once again pushed the front to the core area of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Here we encountered the barrier of the Kingdom of Whirlpool again. This time it was not so easy. For a while, I was unable to break through the barrier. But these people would not give up and continued to attack without stopping. The barrier must have its limits, and they believed that the Kingdom of Whirlpool could not hold on for long. At this time, inside the barrier, there are dozens of Uzumaki clan members left around Uzumaki Shukyu, most of whom are middle-aged and elderly. But everyone's strength is not lower than Jonin level. Is the plan going well? Have everyone been sent out? Uzumaki Shuking asked. Wei clan leader, they have all been sent out. However, I'm afraid there won't be peace on the road. According to the information detected, the enemy has also arranged to intercept troops. We are not sure how much we can escape in the end. A member of the Whirlpool tribe spoke up. Whirlpool Shuking nodded expressionlessly. We have done what we can. Whatever the final result is, we can only leave it to fate. As he spoke, he looked at the enemies in the distance who were still frantically attacking the barrier, his eyes flashed with coldness, and he said coldly, since these people want to destroy us and rob our sealing technique so much, let them experience the power of our strongest sealing technique for themselves. I hope that leaving these people behind can bring more life to the tribesmen who escaped. Blood sacrifice. The next moment, countless spell runes lit up in the core area of the entire Whirlpool Kingdom. A terrifying force was constantly accumulating, and the blood-red snake hair of Whirlpool Shuking and others began to turn white at a speed visible to the naked eye. The skin also quickly became loose and old. Soon, everything was drained out one by one. Boom! After a few breaths, a deafening explosion sounded in the core area of the capital of the Whirlpool Kingdom. Then, a terrifying mushroom cloud rose up, carrying an extremely terrifying shock wave and heat wave in all directions. Not good. The enemy is going to fight to the death. The moment the terrifying energy in the core area began to gather, the people who were besieging sensed it. Suddenly, the leader's face changed drastically. He immediately ordered to retreat first. But it was too late. Most people hadn't run far before the explosion sounded. Then they were swept by the terrifying torrent. Defense. Earth-style earth-shore return. Water-style water barrier. Lightning-style. It seemed that these ninjas had no time to escape, and they all jointly performed super-large cluster ninjutsu for defense. The next moment, countless screams rang out. At least more than one-third of the people did not have time to defend, and were directly burned to ashes by the shock wave and heat wave. Of the remaining two-thirds, half failed to defend, and were either dead or disabled. Only most of the elite Jonin and even cage-level strongmen were not injured. What a cruel Uzumaki clan. We were careless. After the explosion torrent passed, the Sannin village counted the personnel in person, and was immediately silent by the huge casualties. Then, there was outrage. They were divided into 3 parts, and each side lost at least 100 ninjas. These are all elites above Chunin. Among them, the Mist Shinobi suffered the most serious losses. Because the water-style defensive ninjutsu they are good at was the least effective in the previous explosion torrent. Cloud Shinobi came second. Although they are best at lightning style, many of them also mastered the powerful earth-style defensive ninjutsu. In addition, Cloud Shinobi's ninja physical skills and physique are relatively strong, and they are more resistant to damage. The one who suffered the least loss was Rock Shinobi. At this time, on a rooftop hundreds of meters away from the core area, Number 1 witnessed all of this and couldn't help but smack his lips. Tisk tisk. Awesome. Sure enough, a ninja clan that can establish a country must have some powerful trump cards. Now, the 3 major ninja villages will be in pain. But it has nothing to do with me. Keep collecting corpses. With this thought in mind, Number 1 flashed into the house under his feet, took out a space scroll, and sealed the bodies of the 2 Uzumaki clan ninjas who were killed in the house. It's time to withdraw. After doing all this, Number 1 did not stay any longer. He quickly left here and headed towards a certain route to the north. Because he had already locked the location of Tsunade and the others through contract summoning birds, as well as the location of the 3 Uzumaki clan evacuation teams. Originally, he was planning to sneak into the core area to obtain some sealing scrolls left behind by the Kingdom of Whirlpool. But considering that there are still at least 200 elite ninja troops of Sannin village remaining there. The worst of these people have elite Chunin strength, so you better not commit suicide. If you are beaten up, you will not be able to participate in the subsequent events. This didn't fit into his plan. Because of the help of the aura concealment talent, which greatly reduced the sense of presence, even though Qianzan did not deliberately hide his figure in order to travel quickly, the journey was smooth and there was basically no obstruction. The only 3 Mist Shinobi Chunin encountered were killed by Number 1 using 7 or 8 quick-fire wind blade techniques continuously. On Tsunade's side, she was escorted by more than a dozen Senju clan members, and she quickly rushed towards Konaha with Kushina. In the previous battle, Senju's people still failed to be of much help. The enemy is really too strong. However, Senju also lost 1 person and several others were injured. Puff puff. Just then, a common bird flew straight towards Tsunade. Tsunade, who has sharp eyes, noticed something strange about this bird. Although it did not have chakra, its target was too clear. In addition, the bird actually had a round piece of paper tied to one of its feet, which caught Tsunade's attention. She immediately dodged and caught the bird, then reached out and took off the note. What surprised Tsunade was that the bird showed no intention of struggling at all. However, the moment Tsunade took off the note, the bird simply turned into a puff of smoke and disappeared. This summoning beast, it shouldn't be. It doesn't even have chakra. Tsunade frowned slightly. Tsunade, what's wrong? The Senju around them noticed something unusual and stopped one after another, and Tiamu even asked. It's still unclear. This bird seems to have come to deliver the message on purpose. Tsunade replied, and at the same time opened the note and read it quickly. His expression suddenly changed. What's written on it? Do you know who sent the information? Upon seeing this, Temu quickly came to Tsunade. Tiamu, take a look. Tsunade didn't answer and handed the note to Temu directly. Tiamu took it and took a look, his expression also changed dramatically. This. Tsunade couldn't help but ask, Temu, do you think this is true or false? In fact, asking this question shows that Tsunade already believes it. Tetsumu is different from Tsunade in that he is too clear about the darkness of the village, the insidiousness of Danzo and the third generation 5 times. Yada knows that Danzo and third generation have been trying to weaken Senju. He immediately said in a deep voice, no matter what, I would rather believe that it exists than that it doesn't exist. Since this route has been exposed, then change the route. The enemy is well prepared. Moreover, there are no less than 10 Jonin and no less than 20 Chunin alone. It is not appropriate to confront them head-on, even if they have a reminder at this time and are prepared. If you choose to go head-to-head, even if you can win, it will definitely be a miserable victory. The route's purpose is to kill them Senju elites, and Temu will not let them succeed no matter what. Good. Tsunade didn't hesitate and immediately nodded in agreement. Puff puff. At this time, another bird fluttered its wings and landed on the branch in front of Tsunade. There was also a piece of paper tied to its foot. Tsunade and Temu looked at each other, and immediately took off the note and looked at it. There were only 7 words on it. Just follow me if you believe me. Then, the bird took off in the air and walked slowly in a certain direction to the east. He would circle around from time to time, waiting for them to catch up. Temu, Tsunade and others looked at each other in confusion. What should I do? It should be sent by that person too. Can you believe it? Ironwood asked with a frown. Letter. Tsunade gritted his teeth and said decisively, we can only believe it. Please stay vigilant at all times and do more reconnaissance. Let's go. Follow. Immediately, she took the lead and chased the bird with Kushina on her back. Soon, they discovered that the bird was not flying in a fixed direction, and seemed to be constantly adjusting its route to avoid something. The same scene was played out in front of the other 3 groups of the Whirlpool clan who fled to the team. In the end, 2 pairs of me chose to trust no one. With the help of number 1, they successfully escaped from the pursuers of Sanin village without any danger. From the remote route in the Kingdom of Fire, he fled into the Kingdom of Fields, then entered the Kingdom of Frost and hid in a deep mountain somewhere in the Kingdom of Frost. Relying on the sealing barrier, he began to live in seclusion. At the same time, they always remembered that someone helped them and rescued them from the pursuers. Of course, this is all a story for later. However, the Uzumaki clan who did not choose to trust the bird sent by number 1 to lead the way fled to the team. In the end, as expected, they were caught up by Cloud Shinobi and Rock Shinobi, and many people died. The rest were lost along the way. 4 days later, looking at the Konoha gate that was counting, Tsunade and the others finally breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, we arrived safely. It seems that the person does not have any ill intentions toward us, and is indeed helping us. I just don't know who this person is. Why should he help us? Tsunade murmured and looked at the bird that was leading the way. Puff. The next moment, the bird turned into a ball of smoke and disappeared. Temu raised his eyebrows and said, it seems that this person is not planning to meet with us yet. It seems so. Tsunade nodded, then raised the corner of his mouth slightly, and chuckled, but I have a hunch that we will definitely meet in the future, and I am looking forward to that day. Okay, let's go into the village. This trip is quite tiring, so hurry up and finish the work. I want to have a good rest for a few days. With that said, Tsunade took Uzumaki Kushina towards the gate of Konaha. Temu and others also followed suit. After his identity was verified and he walked into the village, Temu said directly to Tsunade, I won't go with you. I will take people back to the clan directly. I have to report this matter to Master Mito. In addition, this time, the clan is also going to hold a meeting. This time I almost suffered a big loss. If someone hadn't helped secretly, they might have been tricked by the roots. It's strange that Temu felt comfortable. This matter must arouse the vigilance of the clan, and we must talk about it carefully and sum it up. We can't sit still and wait for death. The third generation and Danzo clearly want to get rid of the last of Senju's power. Although it failed this time, there will definitely be a next time. They cannot sit still and wait for death. Good. Tsunade probably knew what Temu was thinking, so he naturally had no objection. She immediately parted ways with Temu and the others, and rushed towards the Hokage office with Kushina, the Whirlpool. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.